All right, shalom, shalom, everyone who's coming in. We're gonna put the link in for y'all to come up. Like I said, be cordial, behave like an adult, and just tell us who do you think won the debate against GRLA Hebrew or Dr. Brown. We'll put the question actually up on the screen. Give me a moment, but I guess the rest of Yap can speak on that. Uh,
Yeah, I guess we could give a little commentary because we're waiting for people to come in. We should have played a little music prior, just for people to transition into this new space. But yeah, so whoever want to start, they could go ahead and start. Oh, we got JT Mack in the building. Shalom, Mac.
Greetings. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I have to turn my camera off. My wife's stuff is sitting behind me. I don't want all that stuff on. um, hey, great man. Yeah, I had to jump on my computer because my headphones for my laptop was battery was going dead. But um, it's funny for me because this week I've been looking forward to this debate like since it was announced, and as so happens, this week was the craziest week at work. Couldn't get off on time at all ever. And oh, Mr. Black Tastic, I know you're coming up. Couldn't get off of work at all, and I had to listen to replays, and then it was late, and I was falling asleep. Had to go back and listen again, and some stuff I missed. So I'm glad you guys did this replay because I was really able to sit back and uh, just absorb it all and make sure that what I thought happened. And I think you guys' nuanced viewpoints on what was said and what was not said was great. Giving Gorilla Hebrew his brownie points, shall I say, where he was strong, and like you guys mentioned when Dr. Brown kind of threw black people on the bus for coming at Jewish people violently. I thought that was an ouch moment too when I heard that. I cringed. But yeah, overall, I definitely give Dr. Brown this debate. Um, there at no point, if we're going by the title of the debate, at no point did Gorilla Hebrew prove that the 12 tribes chart was legitimate at all. Um, did he prove that the Ashkenazis were not real Jews? No, he did not. Um, I I don't. How do I say this? I don't understand why uh you can't just these people just can't say, "Hey, we believe we're Jews too." Two, being the key word TOO, and just just join the culture. I don't understand the hatred and all that stuff, but that just lets you know that it's not Christ-like for one. So people claiming to be representatives of whatever name they've given Christ or Yeshua, um, to be representative of him and their behavior is totally antithetical to how Christ taught his disciples to treat other people. It's just it's just mind blowing, especially those who you believe that persecute you. What did Christ say how we're supposed to treat people that persecute us? And so, if they believe that the so-called Ashkenazis were responsible for persecuting our ancestors or whatnot, or had a hand in it, this is not how Christ is telling us to treat people. To stand on the corners, howling, screaming, and condemning people to hell. So I, I don't know, man. I just this whole movement is mind blowing to me. I've been knowing Messianic Hebrews or Messianic Jews for years, and we're both quote unquote you white ones and people of color. And this movement here to me was just something totally new. Um, and so I've just been blown away by all this. And I want to ask you guys too, and I'll land my plane because they make a big deal about migration as far as leaving Israel AD 70. They make it sound like some of them make it sound like only Judah migrated west, and then but then they'll say, well, Judah and Levi and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Benjamin.
Benjamin. Okay, but how many of them? And this is just I know this is an anecdotal poll. How many of them actually claim any other tribe outside of Judah? I've never heard. Every time that question is asked, they always seem to all of them seem to claim Judah. Maybe I missed the other ones, but you would.
Alazar claims Levi.
Oh, does he? Okay, okay. So he believes he's a Levite, huh? That's interesting.
Correct.
I'll land my plane on that one.
Hey James, I see you showed up, man. You weren't able to give your opinion on the show. I saw you jumping in and out with that. So you got the floor if you want to give your handicap on the debate, fam.
Well, it ain't gonna be that long because I was listening in for the most part, and most people kind of went over the most of the talking points I would go over. But I do think that Dr. Brown won the debate because the debate included the 12 tribes chart. I actually didn't find many issues. Yeah, there's some issues with what Alazar said outside of the 12 tribes chart, but I could kind of see his angle when he wasn't talking about the 12 tribes chart. But I think we all know that it's impossible for the Native Americans to go back to Iron Age Israel. I mean, they've been here for thousands of years before that. Um, for Dr. Brown, the only weak point that I would say is, and I heard Shari say it earlier, was I would like them to better expound it on the migration patterns, kind of laid that out for us nice and cleanly. That way we could understand exactly how they got to where they are and where they came from. Um, I would have liked them to go into a bit more historical sources that kind of lead to showing that, hey, these people have been constantly migrating towards Western Europe because they've constantly been expelled out of this land, that land. It would have been nice for him to kind of show that. Um, that way, it could have kind of showed some of the curses that also fell upon the Ashkenazi Jews, Sephardic Jews, so on and so forth. Um, as far as another bad point I think he made when he tried to when Dr. Brown tried to negate Alazar being a Levite based on his mother um not being an Israelite. I think that that's kind of not intentionally, but it's disingenuous to the conversation because we know that most of the Ashkenazi Jews don't descend from Israelite women, but they descend German women is where most Ashkenazi Jews descend from, including their Levites. So you have to hold him to the same your own people. Um Now the good parts was he came in, took out the 12 tribes chart pretty good and cleanly. He brought up the DNA. DNA, but there's a lot of Israelites that disregard DNA, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they push a message that if you are on in the transatlantic slave trade or you're a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, that you are in fact an Israelite. But they don't want to have to deal with the fact that there are going to be European Y chromosomes amongst us, other Y chromosomes amongst us. So in order to not deal with that fact when they've been pushing this to so many people because it could really tear down a lot of things they've been dealing, I think they just cast off the DNA because it's a real big problem for them. But like I said, Dr. Brown went into the DNA. Even though I don't think the Cohen haplogroup is a great haplogroup to push for Israelites, but if we just want to talk about 11 populations that were in the region that we have DNA of, that we can show and confirm that were in the Levant, that would have been highly exposed to the Israelite culture, if not amalgamated amongst, then the J marker is good to use for that. But to use it for a Cohen marker, I don't think it's that. And I think, a lot of members of Yak Game will agree with me because we agree that Abraham would have likely had EP2. Um, Other than that, I don't think there's really much more to come off of because, I mean, I looked at the arguments from what they presented me, not so much of my knowledge that I already had. So I really, when I judged the debate, I went off the information they had given me in the debate. And like I said, Dr. Brown went right at the 12 tribes chart, pointed out how the different Y chromosomes couldn't work. And with that being a crucial factor in the debate, then you got to give the debate to Dr. Brown. You just have to. To us, something that I heard earlier said. I'll say this. I don't know if it's so much as, hey, just say that you're an Israelite too, and just join the culture, because I think there's a big pushback from their side as well in regards to African American. Not everyone, but there is a pushback, and we experience it a lot of time going into some of these Jewish rooms where there's an extreme pushback at us for saying they were Jews, even though everybody knows Yap Gang. We don't get into all the racist stuff, but we still get that energy from some of them. So I think it's a two-way street. When you're pushed away by someone, rejected by them, and then at the same time you actually feel, according to your doctrine, they have stolen your identity. I can see why they do that. I just wish that more Israelites would do like what we did in Yap Gang. We dug into the DNA, we dug into the history, we dug into the archaeology. We wanted to get as much information as we could to complement the text, so we wouldn't be, waving to and fro or being, pulled in one direction without any confirm and concise evidence. But I think that the greater Jewish community should be willing to accept Israelites that want to, be part of the culture, even if they have their own distinct way of going about it. I also feel like, even though we know the Lashon Kodash is a made-up language, we do know that. I also don't like the attack on it for the reason that, I mean, when you're dealing with it, you're mostly dealing with differences in vocalization, not differences in the consonants or the pronunciation of the consonants, but in the vocalization of the vowel, which ancient Hebrew didn't have any vowel points in order to do it like modern Hebrew do. So, just like the Sephardics have a different pronunciation for some words, the Ashkenazis have different pronunciations, culture, and so on and so forth. You can expect that, especially if some people are coming out of slavery where they lost, their traditions, that they're going to make something up that's similar to it that may not fall in line with it. Again, I just hope that the Israelite community will continue to progress, do things like we did, dig into their studies, and take it to another level, because I think that we do have an argument to be had, but I think that the way that the greater Israelite community goes about it just kind of turns so many people off that we can never really have the real argument. I also think that from the other side, that community cuts off the key component of the Israelites argument, which is an argument based on descent, right? A lot of when we deal with other, whether it's Christians or the Jewish groups, a lot of times they start going into well, the descent doesn't matter, so on and so forth. But we know when we look at the text that the text does say that the descent clearly matters, and that we shouldn't be against it. Now, it ain't the only thing; it ain't the end all be all to anything, but it is a significant component to the journey and the walk with the Most High, because He did choose a certain people to be His kings and priests for the world. And if the Most High said He's going to do it, He's going to eventually bring it to fruition. So if He said that the Israelites would be kings and priests to the world, that will one day come to pass. But that doesn't mean that there won't be a mixed multitude in the last days, just like it was when Israel was becoming a nation. And I'll land my plane there.
Can I say something real quick concerning what you brought up, brother, with the language?
Yes, sir.
So my thoughts on that, there are many dialects of different languages all over the world. Chinese, you got Mandarins and all different dialects. Even here in the United States, there, the predominant language is English, but there are different dialects of English. Depending on where you go to Kentucky or you go to the hood, you guys know what I'm saying. But I think the problem is that I personally don't have a problem with them having their a dialect, as far as Hebrew is concerned. I think the rub is when they claim that dialect is the original language or something of that, along those lines. And so they're going at these other people and insulting them and saying, oh, this is the real language. And you guys don't, have the original, because we're the original people. I think that's the rub. Unless I'm missing something, I believe that's where Dr. Brown was coming from. Can somebody opine on that?
No,
Well,
I
I
agree with you.
know
Right,
that
right.
there was a stance where they did take that in the foundational, but I think that a lot of people aren't really kind of keeping up with the way that a lot of their views are changed. I'm not trying to say Yap Gang had a great influence with it, but I know that a lot of them watch our work and they're kind of tweaking and peaking their understandings according to some of the work we're doing. So like some of them come out and say, well, no, this is just our dialect of it, just
Hmm.
like the Yiddish have their dialect, just like the others have their dialect. I've heard a few of them come out and say it that are leaders within that community, that it's just a dialect to them.
And when they
Now,
say that, I respect that 100% because I agree with what JT Mac was saying. Like, if they come out and saying like it's the OG one, brother, we're gonna have problems, right? Because now we got to talk, right? Because now you're saying even so, we're people who deal with material culture, right? So we like to actually find out like connect to our people who were actually dealing with some kind of linguistic connection whatsoever. So whatever linguistic connection we've been able to find, they're saying that we're wrong at this junction, that it's pronounced wrong, just like Brown was saying, right? That the way the Africans were doing it was wrong, apparently, right? So I got to see the material connection for that if I'm going to accept that original argument, right? But if you're just saying this, if you're just saying no, this is my dialect, fam. Oh, bruh, I'll defend that. I'll defend that to the death, bro. Like no, because everyone got their way of doing that, fam. Like so. For instance, if you have Judeo Arabic or you have Judeo like Germanic or like Yiddish, whatever you want to talk about, right? You can put Judeo whatever on whatever you want to. Like my man was talking about, like the Cochin Jews and whatever. Like they all have their own dialects of the thing, fam. Why can't there be an American dialect if you're gonna do it like that? Why not be like Judeo American or Americano? Right? I'm with that all day. As long
Yeah,
as
but when
long
they
as long as you got the respect of saying this is a new thing that we're doing this here right now, right?
By the way, if anybody wants to come up on the panel, you're welcome to. Just behave like an adult. But we're putting the link in for anybody that wants to come on and wants to come up. You can speak and speak your piece.
yeah, but when you're coming across and you're trying to demarcate like Yiddish and things of that nature, this is where the problem. They're gonna get defensive, and I get why they get defensive. You know, to me, a lot of the different dialects of Hebrew, like Ladino and Yiddish, and it's to me, it's like a mix of the Hebrew and whatever, um, and whatever nation or area that you're currently in. As a culture, you pick up. It's like a Creole. It's like a jumbo. You start to you get loan words and things
yeah,
of
they
that
pick up their
nature.
vowel vocalizations and loan words, like you said. Yeah,
Right. So, that's why I have no problem with all of the different dialects. It's just when you start trying to say that, well, this one or the Niger Congo, we'll find certain long words in the Niger Congo languages or the Bantu languages and stuff like that. And people try to demarcate those as well. Yes, a Niger Congo language, but you do find, in the Bantu dialect, you'll find certain words that will be similar, or it's because these people traveled all over. They migrated just about everywhere. These Semites, they traveled just about everywhere,
especially in
migrated
the
just about
Bronze
everywhere.
Age, because they were metal traders, and anywhere they could find metal, they were going there to get it.
Exactly. So you're going to have these loan words and these Creole or like a Creole or like a patois, dialects in these different places.
Or
Okay, yeah.
even the Jamaicans, they got their English dialect. It's kind of sometimes it's mind blowing because I can't keep up, or understand, but it is a dialect, and I understand the history. It was they did that, so that their quote unquote enemies couldn't understand what they were saying. So, but even uh, American uh, Africans, slaves, for lack of a better word, had code words and different dialects that that so-called quote unquote master couldn't understand what they were saying.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I get that. Down in the bayou, you got Creole and you got all these different dialects. And so yeah,
Hmm.
no, I don't think people, anyone that's got that's fair should not have a problem with dialects. But yeah, when you make it sound like, or you make the claim that no, this is the original Hebrew, this is how it sounds, because I've heard some of them make those claims, and I don't think I've ever heard any Jew say that Yiddish is the original Hebrew. So, but yeah,
Right. I don't think you would be able to find an original dialect of Hebrew just about anywhere in this time and age.
The closest I would probably say to ancient Hebrew, I'm going to give three possibilities. The closest might one be the what they speak in the Mizrahi Jews, the Iraqi and Iranian Jews. That might be pretty close because they do have the oldest Jewish communities, but also the Yemeni Jews because it will have old ancient Sabaean, which is Afro-Asian, well, Semitic language, Southern Arabian language, and Southern Arabian and Hebrew split off from the same root of Proto-Sinaitic. But also, what possibly could be the closest out of all those two would probably be the Samaritan Hebrew. The Samaritan community goes all the way back, to the Assyrio-Babylonian times, and their Hebrew seems to probably be the oldest in that sense.
Yeah.
I have
Going
another.
back to the Caribbean, going
So
back to the Caribbean dialects too. I just want to make this quick point because even for the islands to be so close together, if you are of Caribbean descent like myself, you would know that when you hear, for most people, when they hear people from the Caribbean, regardless to what island they are from, they pretty much all sound the same, which is not true. If you know, if you can, if you can, if you can separate them, you know what I'm saying? If you know the dialects and you can separate them, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like they're like a Jamaican accent is different from a Trinidadian, and a Trinidadian is a little different from Guyanese and Barbadian, and it's a little different with each island. So, and for them to be in such close proximity and have this diverse English accents, these diverse English accents, it's easy to see how you could have dialects of Hebrew being different, whether they were close together or far away.
No dead air. So I definitely agree with the linguistic concept, and we can see they're different. They're similar and different, all for the same reason, right? Like so you're gonna have the Creole languages happening as a derivative of based upon whatever European cultures are on the different islands and whatever African cultures made at the different islands. You know what I'm saying? And so, uh, but you can also see that so there's differences there, but there's also overlapping things that make them the same and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
here's a question: are there any, as far as you guys know, are there any other group of peoples who identify as Israelites or Jews that claim that the people in the land are not real Jews? Anybody else other than Black Americans is what I'm asking. Are you guys aware of any other group that are making these claims?
No, sir.
I would say Anglo-Saxons probably. Certain people in the people groups in Europe might say
Oh, you're
that. You
talking
would
about
hear
the
that.
yeah, what they call them, the Hebrew root movement or something. I can't remember what they call it.
The WHIs, the Anglo Israelites or
Yeah,
whatnot.
WHL, the
So hold on,
LHIs
so
as
real
well.
quick, OG,
The
they
let
say
the
they
let
say Ashkenazis ain't they real Jews either.
I don't necessarily think it's just when I say Anglo-Saxon, I don't mean like just the Hebrew roots people. I'm talking about the Nazis, and I'm talking about the neo-Nazis
Yeah,
of
he
today.
was saying people that claim to be Israel though.
Right. Yeah. So people like that, I would say. Hmm.
Yeah, but the Nazis, don't claim to be Jews.
Well, I
Right?
mean, like neo-Nazis, like the skinheads, neo-Nazis, things
Yeah,
that
but they're
more
still not claiming. They're still
doing
not claiming to be Jews. Is the point? Like, so he's saying
right.
like anybody claiming to be Israel that.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, sir. Like, yeah. Like the quote unquote camps. They
Yeah, the Latin, the LHIs, the Latin Hebrew Israelites, they do it as well.
okay.
But he was saying the people in America, so that's the same. That's the same thing. Like it's a. Well, you know what? To be honest, it's starting to spread. Like it's going to the UK, but it's basically off the American doctrines. Like it's people claiming descent from the slave trade, and what's funny is it's even surpassing that. Like it's people who are like in the UK. It's like people who are Nigerian that are there, still trying to cling on to it and whatnot, and coming up with their own concept with it.
So it's spreading. The poison is spreading from the Americas.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. That's the case. Unfortunately.
Then so I can read Mr. Black Tassett's comment if you oh, I'm sorry.
No, you gotta go ahead.
Okay. Judges 12:6. Then they will say to him, say now, Shibboleth. I guess that's how that's pronounced. But he said Shibboleth, for he could not pronounce it correctly. He didn't making fun of me. No. Yeah, that's an interesting. They had different dialects of Hebrew among the ancient Israelites as far back as Judges 12:6. Okay, yeah.
Right. So depending on where you were, once everybody came back from Passover, or, when they had to meet up, they probably, or even during trading, they would have ran into each other and, discovered that they were both Jews, and they would speak, and one would probably have a little, a different accent than the other, or pronounce a word a little different than the other.
Right.
Well,
Things
a
like
lot of them didn't wipe out the Canaanites, so they kept them in the region. So they're going to speak a dialect of the close to the people that they're around, because Hebrew and Canaanite wasn't that far away from each other anyway.
Mm-hmm.
These are some very good assessments too.
Yeah. Anybody else want to come up?
No, go ahead, James.
One more time? I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to talk over anybody. But drop the link one more time. Anybody else want to come up? Any questions?
The link is
pinned at the top. Yeah, it's pinned.
It's there? Oh, it's pinned. Okay, great. Cool. So anybody, you're invited to come up, tell us what you thought about the debate, or give us your, if you have any questions for us, or, you're more than welcome to come up.
I'll say another good point that I did think that Alizar make again. I think he lost the debate, but I think a good point he made was when he said that, hey, that we say that you guys are Edomites, and that the Edomites would have the same DNA composition as the Israelites. I do think that was actually a good point, because they were around the same people. They have the same common ancestry. So they would. Now, I'm not saying that they are Edomites. I'm just saying from his position, and arguing that they are is a good point to point out, because he's pretty much saying the DNA is irrelevant to proving that they're Israelites, because they could be Edomites with the exact same DNA composition.
Right. And this is where us being Yap, we know where people leave money on the table, right? Like, so if Dr. Brown was more astute at DNA, you know what I'm saying? Because he was astute enough to make an argument like the choline modal haplotype type or whatever. Okay, but if he was more astute, he would have heard that and like, okay, so you're saying that we're a proxy population for what Israelite DNA should look like, and all the genetics you're showing for Q and this, that, and the third, that's not what it's looking like, fam.
That would be a great rebuttal. That would be a hell of a rebuttal to that. But he never made it.
Right. That's like we were, all of us that know DNA were pulling our hair like he made an argument in Alzar didn't even approach it, and we're like, man, there's such a better argument to make. But
it ain't his field of expertise, and we can't expect
right.
Extremely knowledgeable.
And he cited enough, right? He cited enough in the sense to like, okay, the argument you're making against me in terms of like Ashkenazi Jews having multiple haplogroups and we should only have one. well, that specifically applies to you too. Like so, what you're saying about, and he didn't even bring it. He was nice. He didn't even bring up the African American concept. He just went straight to Native Americans. Like, no, they got all kind of different houses. What's up, man? Like, what
Which
you
was
saying?
good on him to not attack African Americans because I think he acknowledges the Igbo.
Right. Which I thought was super. Like, man, I heard stuff this last time that I didn't hear the first time. Right. Like, I'm hearing Brown being more open. Like, hey, man, let's link up. Let's build. I'm like, what was that? What? Huh?
Yeah, I think he's like, I do see that there's a link historically, with the Igbo and stuff like that. So I think he's more like, hey, they're at least they're Christians like me, so maybe we have an area
Right.
we can build on.
Right. But he was even talking about the fact like we can like having other people recognize us all as Jews together. I was like, yo, I didn't catch that first. I was like, that's a big statement to make right there. You know what I'm saying? And when you're talking about the Ebos, like, I had to think, I was like, you know what? He did sit down with Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. Rosenberg did school him on that. I was like, that was a few years ago, but he did sit him like, because I remember seeing like, Brown was like, I didn't know that. Like, maybe he took that in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Rosenberg because he sat down with Ibri and Rue and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm about to say because when he said it from the get go, he like almost from jump, he was pretty much on. I'm not attacking,
Right.
Your genetic links to him as African. Like he was pretty much hit that on the jump, and I think that took so much air out of GRLA Hebrew's tank, bro, because that's like a key component of their argumentation. Like, look, they won't even recognize us. They won't even acknowledge us, but he fully acknowledged you. So it kind of put it on you like, why don't you acknowledge him then?
And then when Alizar asked him to bring up like an example, like examples of curses and stuff like that, he even referenced Alizar as saying like our ancestors went through this and stuff like that too, even though he also stated that he don't know Alizar's ancestry, but if he could be one of us, then it's our ancestors went through such and such and such. And I thought that was also commendable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's so much information now that they have no choice but to pivot, I would say, especially when you have a lot of African American Israelites saying, that we're a part of world Jewry and not trying to keep it to ourselves, not trying to hijack the whole thing. We're saying that, so I just think that the pivot it was something that had to be done, just because of the evidence and all that's coming up and with the Obadiah Alliance and all of these things, like there's really no pushing back on it anymore, no more denying. Not saying that all of them see that or all of them think that way, but you're starting to see a shift. And I think it's a good thing.
I have a question for the panel.
Mm-hmm.
A thought exercise per se.
Okay.
Okay. If you had to defend the 12 tribes chart and you can make any revisions that you want based off the knowledge that you know as a Yap Gang member, how would you revise the 12 tribes chart to win an argument against Dr. Brown?
Against Dr. Brown?
I would exclude the
So hold
Native
on real
Americans.
quick, just so I'm clear for the question. Do I have to say the Ashkenazi Jews aren't Jews?
No, you do not.
Okay. So just for the 12 tribes, I got you. Okay, go ahead, Avery.
Just for the 12 tribes chart.
I said that I would just remove the Native Americans from it.
I make it a global argument. I go four corners.
I can see more doing that right now because he's right on page with me. Make it a global argument. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, we're not. That's it. Just make it a four corners argument, like it says in the scrolls and whatnot.
Yeah,
I'm with the lost tribes everywhere and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
But now
you have to be careful of the Negro thing too. You can't use just the Negro. Like you can't go that route. Yeah, you cannot.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So that's what I was getting ready to say. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because then, if it's the four corners, which I agree, all nations, dispersed into all nations. So why would that not include quote unquote Europeans?
It would have to.
It would have to.
Exactly.
Especially by the way we do things with genetics,
right,
and material culture.
So they
because
So
couldn't
I would
really.
like
talk.
when you deal with the during the Bronze Iron Age, when all the movement was going on in the military,
Right. It would
you
have
had
to.
the
It would have to
mixture
go
of
back.
the R1B, the J, the
Mm-hmm.
E1B, the basal E1B1A, E1B1B, all in that North Africa Levantine area. You had them all
Hmm.
mixing together in those areas.
Hmm.
So that shows and proved that all these people together. Then when you had the Assyrian invasion that pushed them all out, you have the letters from Hanno and Hamilcar, the navigators, in Carthage, about them going and not only populating and circumnavigating Africa and colonizing it, but also Western Europe. They
Well,
went
then they
all
would
up
have
into
to.
Britain and the Spain and all these regions and colonized it.
Right. I was going to say they'd have to totally redraw the whole 12 tribes chart because and
Yeah,
they would have to stop excluding people. So as currently constructed, it cannot be defended, sister. Let's take this to court.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
that's
would
why I
say.
stated in my question, you can make any
revise it.
revisions to the chart that you want to make the debate. So that uh, let's rephrase the title for the debate, right? Let's say, is the 12 tribes chart accurate? You can make any revisions to the 12 tribes chart to prep for this debate. How would you make it accurate in a sense if you are a Yap Gang member? Any revisions you want.
Well, I think
Right.
it's
So
hard to synchronize people down to tribes. I think that's why where it'll get hard
very
at.
hard,
Yeah,
especially where we're at now. Especially where we're at in history now. Like we can't, even with genetics, we can't really pin that down. Who would belong to which tribe? But we would be able to make an overall arching argument or a chart. And we're talking just Yap Gang now. So JT, I know you said they would, so I want you to stay in the spectrum because the question was asked, by the sister, basically, how would the Yap Gang do it? So I would agree with James that we would have to go back to the Bronze Age and we would have to build it from that point, but we would still not be able to pin down tribes, not with subclades
yeah.
or even material culture. That's my
Oh.
personal thought.
So hold on. Does oral history count as material culture?
Well, no, I think there's some
Orals,
oral history, but there's always like not a particular like it may have been one tribe got there first, but then you end up in the same cultures, or so you'll hear about maybe two other tribes coming into the region. So it's
hmm
kind of hard to say, hey, well, these are exactly these people. Like when Ghana, you got the Dagambes, and they claim to be Dan, Gad, and who's the last one? I forgot the last one, but it's like three different tribes they claim to be. So I can't say that they're a particular tribe. I can just say, hey, we know that these three tribes were in this region.
right.
No, brother, I get that. I wasn't trying to speak for the Yap King. I was just thinking.
No, 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 no. I didn't think no. I don't want you to take that wrong, bro. I didn't mean like you were speaking for us because I heard you made a statement like you said they would have to change it.
Right.
So you were talking about the guys outside of us.
Yeah,
So I
those who
was trying,
created the charts. Yeah.
right. So I was trying to keep you in house here because the question was asked here. So I wanted to keep your thought process here with us and how we would build it
Yes,
and
sir.
get your thoughts on that basically.
And
I'm
isn't it
sorry, I didn't mean.
also? I'm sorry. Isn't it also interesting that because so we were in the chat you guys had? No, actually in Berean's chat earlier, somebody was talking about the 12 tribes chart, and I had to remember that. Hey, didn't the uh original founding fathers of the chart admit that it was bogus, and they did it because it was a pitch, a catch to recruit.
Yeah, they were trying to
Yeah,
get
it was like a template. Yeah. Go ahead, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But
that's how they were trying to get people in the seats with that. That's how
In
they
the
got people.
door, yeah.
right, so if they're admitting that it's bogus, why are people still running with it? Is mind-boggling to
Because
me.
it's part of their doctrine.
Exactly.
It
And they
ain't,
would
it
have
ain't
to
about facts.
dismantle a
It's
lot.
about doctrine at this point.
Yep.
Right.
And doctrine don't care about outside sources.
Hmm.
Yeah. So real quick to answer the sister's question and whatnot, like so how I would change the 12 tribes chart is I would definitely make it global, Like, you know how I get down. Like, I get down with the E and J Block Party. Like, so I make the argument for like E and J being like the best examples for the basal population of what made national Israel. I go back to national. I can't without a patriarch. We can't talk about like who's the bloodline, right? But we can make an argument for like who goes back to the nation concept, right? So I'm gonna try to find out what's the blueprint for what's the most likely blueprint for the mixed multitude model, right? And so when I look at that at the very base of it, I'm saying, okay, E and J is looking like it's a good base for that or whatnot, right? And then from there, like so, I can see E and J in Europe. I can see E and J in West Africa. I can see E and J East Africa. I can see E and J in India. You feel what I'm saying? E and J in the Middle East and whatnot, right? I see that in every population, Israelite population I go to of people that are claiming it. I can see E and J there. You know what I'm saying? So on top of that, if I'm going to find out the tribes or whatnot, the only way I can go from there is I got to connect it to their oral history in material culture and whatnot, right? And so if I really study that or whatnot, most of these people that are talking about the Israel are connecting themselves to a particular tribe or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And at that juncture, here's what's interesting about that. If I don't know what the actual paternal haplogroup is, I can't say who's the actual tribal member and who's the inhabitant of the tribe, like who sojourned to the tribe. I got to connect it all as one group with them. You know what I'm saying? And until it gets sorted out, you know what I'm saying, by genetics in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to look like the mixed multitude almost in every tribe in some way, shape, or form. If that makes sense.
By the way, if anybody wants to come up, the link is pinned at the top. So if y'all want to, ask any questions or give your input on the debate, come on in. But the link is at the top. Feel free to come up, but behave like an adult. No cursing and stuff like that.
Did my answer make sense, sis?
Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did. I'd rename the chart. I'd rename the thing. Scattered Israel, National
Thank you.
Israel.
Exactly.
I'm definitely going with the mixed multitude. I'm rocking with the E and J concept, haplogroup E and J concept as well, and I'm gonna definitely include European jury in that, African jury in that, Sephardic jury in that, North African jury in that, Middle Eastern jury in that.
Asian jury, all of it.
Asian jury. We're all over the globe, so that's what we're doing. It's a scattered Israel chart without the tribes, because I'm not even gonna put myself through the headache of trying to do that.
I think that is a perfect scattered tribes chart. I think that is a perfect name.
Yeah, definitely. And see if GRLA Hebrew and the camps and stuff didn't dislike us so much in our arguments. I would have helped them with the revision of the chart. Honestly, I would have, if they weren't being so mean. But yeah, that's what I'll do with it.
You mean you would have helped you would have helped Alazar fit somewhere on his own chart?
I really would have, bro. I really would have helped Alazar if he was genuine about changing the chart and having a more nuanced and balanced argument, and he was genuine about it. Bro, I'd help you.
I don't think sisters are allowed to do such things over there. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
that's right.
hey, we got the scholastic bully in the building. You know what I'm saying? So what's good with your brother? Just shoot.
Man, I just got off Clubhouse. GRLA Hebrew had an interview on there, and the brother is denying any mechanism as far as dating goes. So he doesn't trust
for
DNA, fossils, archaeology. He says throw it all away.
Wow.
I told his followers in the comments, I'm like, man, this dude is just spewing fallacies. He's leaking fallacies all over the place. We have to dismiss everything, right? In order to believe him. So
that's the only way it works, you shoot.
He also said that you guys are all clout chasers. He did say that.
He knows about Yap Gang doing videos.
Of course he does.
He won't say the name. He says, you know who I'm talking about.
Whoa. Hold on, whoa. Who accepted the debate with Dr. Brown?
Salazar Slytherin. I mean,
Vanilla Hebrew.
So, hey, my G, why you cloud chasing
Vanilla
Dr. Brown,
Gorilla.
G? Why you cloud chasing Dr. Brown?
Oh man,
Stop it.
he
So how
said
did it go on Clubhouse? I know we had another fan in there. How what went there with that?
that was one of my old subs. He used to sub the Genesis 49ers. I let him down. I let him and his family down.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it something a buck right quick. Like, this is how you know these cats are super soft. It's because they know who we are and they don't deal with us.
Yeah, he doesn't want to invoke our names at all. He doesn't.
They'll watch what we do. They got to see the arguments. They got to see what we're saying, but they got to avoid us at all costs because we're bad for business.
There were a few people in the chat saying Yashub should debate Salazar, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
You know that ain't gonna happen.
he left right after that. So I don't know.
Oh, he left the room.
I'm not gonna say it was done out of fear or nothing like that. I'm not gonna say that. But like when I got there, people were saying, "Raise your hand, Yashub, to get on stage." So as soon as that happened, the moderator says, this is going to be the last question." I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. Maybe they were getting ready to wrap up. I don't know. You know, it's hard to tell.
It still sounds funny.
Yeah.
So how did it go with our good number one fanboy Danoy? How did that go?
Danoy was actually holding his own, and that's how I know GRLA Hebrew's position is because Danoy was posing some tough questions for him, and he did not want to answer them. He just completely dismissed everything, red herring. Started, you know the usual, calling him a devil, and
Ain't nobody asked him how is he an Israelite if most of them E1B1A and he R1B.
Hold on, that Danoy brought something up, man. He said, "You calling me white and I'm a devil, but you're R1B and I'm haplogroup E." He did say that. So.
Oh damn!
Not Dano with a bar.
Danoy did do that, man. So
Hold on, fam.
What you expect?
Hey, around here, fam, we do that one like this. Hold on. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I gotta switch my joint. I gotta go to your shoes joint. Cause yeah, I gotta give it to you, homie. That was a straight hibachi, my
You gotta
dude.
get all the good memes. You gotta get the good memes out.
Yeah, gotta switch it up right quick. Hold on. Yeah, we gotta hit him with this one.
Yeah, that was a moment, man. It was a hibachi moment.
Because we brought that out, like so Alazar is talking about like you got to be connected to the majority haplogroup amongst your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying like, okay, if the majority of African Americans are E1B1A, my G, you're not even part of the majority haplogroup amongst them. And what are you saying?
He's part of the majority haplogroup of the United States. That's what he's saying.
Y'all gotta hear this. You guys have to hear this, man. Oh, here it is.
He said, "Top flight, secure the world, Craig.
More
the world.
More, you gotta hear this, brother. You gotta hear this. Look at the stream because I witnessed him say this. He stated that no one ever saw his haplogroup R or never seen his haplogroup, and he said, "You guys don't even know if that's." He's basically saying that he knows his DNA through his uncle, right? And he said
23 and me.
I think he did because it says at the top it says his initials. I know his real name starts with an A and whatever his last name is. So that's his test. But he also says 23andMe doesn't even give you your Y haplogroup.
Lies.
What are you saying?
Brother, he said that on Clubhouse tonight that 23andMe does not give you a
mine says R-S1855. That's what mine says.
Bruh.
He's lying through his teeth.
So it definitely gives it. Pull mine up right now.
Bruh.
But I think everybody already knows
so
that.
Everybody
James,
we all going straight to 23andMe. You know that, right?
You ain't even got to pull it up, James. Everybody already know 23andMe give that. That's
we got to pull up his Google images of people who took 23andMe tests. I mean,
he also said that he only said that he was haplogroup R to confuse Garfield. That's the new narrative.
I was just about to bring that up.
That's the new narrative, bro. So this brother made a rebuttal for his haplogroup.
Yeah, he's a liar.
We should have known
that. That's his rebuttal for I lied about it.
Yeah, to confuse Garfield in the debate. And here's the beauty of it. The clubhouse had replays on.
My
Good. That's what I asked you if they had replay on. Good.
It needs to be downloaded.
hey,
Yeah, somebody grab that.
hey,
God First Gang on Clubhouse. Let's go to God First Gang and then go to the debate interview with Salazar Slytherin. Oh man, very interesting, man.
So you should. I'm not sure if you want to give your complete review on the debate. Who you think won? Why do you think they win? And who lost? And why did they lose the debate?
I was on the road 8 hours today, and I rewatched the debate. I listened to the debate while I was driving, and my pick hasn't changed. If not, my pick solidified watching it again. I still got Brown winning clearly. I don't see how anyone is going to say, because this is something that GRLA Hebrew says in Clubhouse, that we're all lying if we say he didn't win, that we're all liars. But GRLA Hebrew, how do you win a debate where you present information and that information is not only refuted, but the person that refutes it also lets you know that you don't even understand the source that you provided, and is more well versed in the source that you provided, and he knows the authorship, he knows the credentials, he knows everything about it. So I don't know how you say you won a debate like that. It's just weird. And then you kept using things that have nothing to do with the topic and have nothing to do with scholarship. You kept invoking his race or how he looks, and I think it's weird and hypocritical and ironic because newsflash, GRLA Hebrew, have you looked in the mirror? You are phenotypically white. So I don't get these race baiting tactics from you. You lose points on that. He lost points when he brought up the multiplicity of Y chromosomes of Ashkenazi Jews. Brown could always just fall back to say the Ashkenazi Jews are an amalgamation because they come from the biblical Israelites or the mixed multitude. He can always fall back on that. With you can't fall back on that because even in the debate, he states that he's going with a strictly paternal definition of Israelite descending from Jacob. Well, if you invoke haplogroups, then you pretty much demarcate the entire 12 tribes chart because Latinos, African Americans, and Native Americans, they're a composite of Y chromosomes. They're not, they don't all share the same male ancestors. I think he utilized sources that were not in his favor a couple times when he brought up haplogroup Q. Why would you bring up haplogroup Q? That shows that Native Americans have been here for a long time. If anyone knows their stuff about DNA, so that was a lot of holes. Did Brown have weak arguments? I think Brown did have a few weak arguments. One of the arguments was involving cultural continuity because I would have just told Brown, hey, cultural continuity has nothing to do with ancestry. This debate is about ancestry, and that would have killed it. People have discontinued from that culture all the time. Look at African Americans. Most of us are descendants from West Africans, but most of us do not keep a West African religion, culture, or forms of that culture. So that's easily dismissible. But again, I don't think Salazar possesses the skill set nor the knowledge to do that and make that type of argumentation. What else I saw from Dr. Brown? I mean, Dr. Brown's strongest points was his ability to rebuttal and take what GRLA Hebrew had already presented and use it against him, using his own arguments against him. The Wexler paper, for example, the Wexler paper showing that, or making the claim that Ashkenazi Jews have a non-Levantine origin. Well, you can't use that argument and then call them an Edomite and say, oh, you guys are Edomites or Edomite converts, because Edomites are in fact Levantine peoples. You understand? So even trying to, I dismissed it because I used this paper to dismiss DNA altogether. That does not help it. You made the claim. So now you have to eat the claim, right? We can only judge you based on what y'all provide during the debate. You want to say something more? No, I thought more open his
No,
mic.
I didn't mean to go off mute.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, strongest points for Dr. Brown was a rebuttal, and I think that was ultimately what won him the debate, because he was able to rebuttal, several points that GRLA Hebrew came in thinking we're going to be the nail in the coffin, but they turned out to be actually leading to his undoing. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this debate. Anybody that's looking at it from a critical eye, you can clearly see that one side is using fallacious arguments. I will say this, and then I'll end my little rant on this. You can't suggest that that you have to use peer-reviewed articles and you have to look into science, or saying that your argument is more scientifically sound, and then you use arguments that are garbage. I don't know how else to say it. Arguments that have nothing to do with academia, that are not peer reviewed, that are not backed by scientists. You're reading books like The Lost Tribe and Promised Lands. That's basically a book of mythology, modern mythology. That's all it is. You would not see someone like David Reich use that to invoke argument for ancestry. So why would you set a standard in a debate but not go by that standard yourself? That's literally special pleading, right? And it's a double standard. So you lose on that too, because it's like, okay, you're trying to tell Dr. Brown you got to use cited sources from accredited people and scholars, but you yourself are not doing that. What you're doing, you're bringing a bunch of, anecdotal evidence written, by Spanish chroniclers that says, see, this proves the 12 tribes chart. That's not how scholarship works. And I'll end there. I'll land my plane there.
Yeah, Jashub, you brought a lot of points out that made me remind me of a lot of things that I was thinking throughout going back through the videos on the replays myself, because like you, I was working crazy hours. I had to listen to the replay. But I want to say right off the bat, this whole this whole idea of I can use your external conversations and commentary, but you can't use mine because I feel that because that's the way I feel is it's kind of sophomorish to me. I don't know. I don't even know how that was an argument. Um, and then there were times where he would say I disagree, but then would provide no explanation as far as why he's disagreeing on major topics and points that are of importance. Um, and then here's the other rub. Well, we know obviously. Well, before I say that, the 12 tribe, when you get into peer reviewed and scientific, how's the 12 tribes chart peer reviewed or scientific? I mean, that even kills his whole argument from Jump Street. But if their whole argument is that the Ashkenazis or the people over there in the land are converts, then let's run with that. Let's go with the idea that they're converts. They're still violating God's law because they're treating their converted brothers like trash. They're treating their converted brothers with hatred and contempt. So even if they thought they were converts, even if they were converts, they're still treating them the wrong way. They're still violating God's law. And I don't know how they get away with explaining, in their own minds, shifting away from the law of how you're supposed to treat, converts and strangers and people that come into the land and whatnot. We know what the law says about all that. So I just thought I'd ask you guys about that, the whole convert thing and how they, even if they believe that those folk are converts, should they be treating them that way? And I'll land my plane on this. If what Sister Shari was suggesting that, the whole 12 tribes chart was revised to include, all peoples around the world, every nation, I honestly don't even believe, outside of them talking crazy out there, talking crazy to white folk, I don't even believe that it would be much of a controversy as much as it is because if they want to be Jews, they'd be Jews. It wouldn't be no big deal, wouldn't be no controversy. I'll lay my plane on that.
So the convert thing is funny to me because based upon Alazar's own argument, with the multiple haplogroups, there's got to be converts somewhere amongst the African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanics, somewhere, right? And amongst it, based upon his own argument, being that now I know he's saying he's not R, he was just lying, so which means I can't never take you serious ever when you're saying something in public now, Alazar. Like now you're the boy who cried wolf. So I should never take you serious. I got you. Great job by building up your credibility out. But we know you're R, my G. So now we know you're R. And you can definitely prove otherwise because you did take someone. If your uncle took the 23andMe, that's your dad's brother. Okay, he still got the Y-DNA fan. It's still yours. But he got to be the convert based upon his own concept because he's saying the majority haplogroup. He don't even. It's the craziest thing in the world, family. The craziest thing is he literally shot his argument in the face multiple times, and there's going to be zero accountability in his community. His echo chamber is going to reward him for it. That's the sad part about this whole thing, right? But like you're talking about in terms of the convert, even if they are converts, yeah, 100%. I was saying that on Brand's channel and on the Vocab's channel, like, okay, so if we're talking about who's who, and you're taking off language, you're taking off DNA, you're taking off culture, bro, and then you come back and say, but okay, I think that you could be a Hebrew, but genetically, even though I think you're an Edomite, and I think you're a convert, and I think you have the language going. Well, okay. Well, based upon the scrolls, bro, which one of you is going to be an actual Israelite? The one of you keeping the law, or the one of you not keeping the law, man? Like, how many times can you forfeit your argument in one debate? But I don't understand. I'm done.
Great.
As many times as he needs to spin his narrative.
Yeah, we really got to do a show on fallacies, bro. Just bring out and explain some of these fallacies. You can't assume that your position and premise is right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how these guys argue. They argue from the assumption that they're already correct, right? So it's circular. It's like I'm right because I said I'm right.
I'm my own source. I don't even got to put down sources in the books I write.
No, I don't. I don't have to do any of that. So during that clubhouse, there was a debate note ping on the top of the clubhouse, and I saved it. So I want to just email that real quick, and maybe we can go over that and just read over it real quick. Hold on, let me email it.
Yeah, Mr. Black Task is true.
What I thought Dr. Brown wanted to debate, but I think he did a substandard job for a man of his stature. GRLA wanted to debate in the eyes of his crowd. Neither of them convinced anyone to switch positions. I don't think you will because look at the group and how they think. First of all, there's nothing Dr. Brown can do with convincing that group is because they have been told that people are born liars. That's really a doctrine in the Black Hebrew Israelite cult that white people are born liars. So they are inherently lying, right? So how do you beat that? Everything you say can be right and exact and backed with evidence and sources, but they think they've been trained to think that everything you're saying is manipulative or is a lie.
I think one thing he probably could have done though was like tonight when I was showing sources of the Native Americans in terms of their haplogroups and African Americans. I think he should have had a lot more visual aid because you know how the AHI are. They need visual aid. So showing like the Polynesian migration into South America, showing the Native American Q migration over the Bering Straits, what time it happened, and just being very, very visual for the people. I think that would have gone a longer way than just verbally saying it. because in some cases Dr. Brown did verbally say things instead of show things. Um, I think that would have probably helped a little bit show,
But
all these different Native American tribes, being all across the Americas. Like all of these people are Israelites. Like I showed tonight, how on the chart it says Reuben is Seminole Indians, but Gad is Native Americans, and that right there shows a contradiction. A contradiction because Seminole Indians are Native Americans. They're in North America. So, see, I would say that should have been a little bit more had a little bit more visual aid. I would say.
it's the style of debate they chose to utilize. Think about it. They're not debating with our standard with 3 rounds of presentation. I did not see that. It was like 1 round of presentation, and then the rest was like rhetoric.
That's the classical format. That's the classical rhetorical format. Like you're going to get any collegiate format, right? You're going to get the opening like 20-minute presentation, then you're going to get 2 rebuttals, and you're going to get a Q&A.
Right.
And that's why
So,
that was bad. That was a bad idea, but yeah, I get that
It's a bad idea to argue 2 debates in 1 debate doing that.
true.
You feel
Yeah,
what I'm saying? If they would have stuck to just one, trust me, it's not a bad format at all. Just sticking to one topic. That's why scholars do that format. But when you can't put 2 in that format at all. It doesn't make no kind of. That's that conscious community thing, right? Where let me pick one topic and try to switch it up somewhere. Like, all right, bro, I see what you're doing. And Brown was just trying to get the debate. You know what I'm saying? So you could tell there was a lot of back and forth going on. Like, and Alazar was not trying. For people who don't know about debate titles in the conscious community, it's the hardest part about getting a debate actually done, right? Is because you will literally spend like days sometimes trying to get the title like to the word down, because people want to manipulate the title to the point where they don't have to defend anything, right? Most scholars are trying to actually get have a title where they have to defend something. In the conscious community, they don't want to defend anything, right? That's why when it got to the Q&A, or it got to the crossfire, Alazar is trying to not answer, because in the conscious community, that's a skillful thing to do, right? That's what you want to do in a rhetorical debate format, or scholastic debate format. That makes you look unskilled or whatnot, right? But it was 2 different styles in one spot.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yo, check this out, man. I'm guessing a BHI wrote this. I'm not entirely sure. But this is what they were sharing in Clubhouse during that interview. It says here, first proof, the 12 tribes chart contradicts Deuteronomy 28:62. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for a multitude, because you wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And they have where it says this is not few in number. Even if you say, well, the chart doesn't mean that every single person, every single group is an Israelite, you have to acknowledge that the vast majority are not Israelites, in which case you have shot yourself in the foot. Just this one fact disqualifies the chart. And I think this was a powerful point in the debate, actually. He said, especially when you compare this number of more than 400 million alleged Israelites with the Jewish population today of about 15 million people, which group is dramatically fewer in number. So I think that was a great point in the debate here. Let me keep reading here. It says here, second proof. Oh, well, let me download it real quick so I can get the whole thing. So I don't know if someone from God First Gang wrote down notes and they were trying to compare notes here or whatnot. But someone did a synopsis. As the Black Tastic says, the only time BHIs believe white people is if they say we're evil Edomites who love black slaves, country music, raisins and potato salad, and hella mayonnaise. I rebuke my wicked whiteness. Yep. All right, so I'm gonna reshare this so you guys can see this and just read through it.
I agree with you too, Yeshua. Earlier I stated that, and many others on the panel stated the same thing, that was a powerful point that Dr. Brown brought out.
Yeah, it's more African Americans than there are Jews. Why would anyone even engage in that argument and try to say no? Actually, we fit that curse. Well, if you're trying to narrow it down to just curses and restrict people to just curses, and he pulls a point like that, that becomes a very poignant point because your argument hinges on curses. And he said, well, how do you fit Deuteronomy 28:62? I feel you lose the argument there because you're not relying on DNA, anthropology, archaeogenetics, and archaeology. You're not even doing it.
You know how I would flip it? If I had a revised chart as a Yap Gang member and I had to defend this chart, right? I'd be like, well, amongst these groups, the remnant amongst these groups are descendants of Israelites. If I was him, or
But
the descendant of Hebrews or something like that.
But Brown said right here, you have to acknowledge that the vast majority are not Israelites. He got that covered. In which case, you have shot yourself in the foot, because then that means the 12 tribes chart is not suffice in telling you where the 12 tribes are. If you're going to say, well, actually, majority of these people are not even Israelites, then you kind of debunked yourself at that point.
Yeah. It's getting into those tribes that's really the issue too.
Yeah, another great point by Brown was, how did all the Levites, migrate to just one location known as Haiti? How did that even happen? He wouldn't even answer it. He would like beat around the bush and the Haitians are the greatest diasporic group with no proof at all. No evidence at all. He's just going to say that, and that's his proof that they're Levites. But that's not. We still don't know the answer to the question. How did Levites, all gather on the island, the DR, pretty much DR and Haiti? How did they get there? We don't know. We still don't know. It's just an assumption, but the assumption is assumed to be true. That's not debating. That's pontificating. That's what that is. Again, how do you use stuff like that and you think you won? I don't get it. Anyway, it says here, second proof, the chart relies on bogus information. One of the proofs that Issachar is Mexico today is the alleged Hebrew derivation of Azteca from two Hebrew words meaning time and congregation. Guess who came up with this pseudo breakdown of this word Aztec? Guess who came up with it? I did. I came up with this pseudo word and this pseudo confabulation, and the Sakari, they took it and ran with it, and they still using it to this day.
Hey, you need to stop cloud chasing yourself, you should.
I'm cloud chasing myself at this point, It says, which would supposedly connect them to the sons of Issachar in 1 Chronicles 12, verse 32, who understood the times and seasons. This is utter nonsense. Hebrew Oz means then. It is not a noun meaning time. There is no Hebrew word teka. Instead, there is a verb takha, which likely means to follow. Source, Encyclopedia Britannica. The name Aztec is derived from Aslan, variously translated as white land, land of white herons, or place of herons, an allusion to their origins probably in northwestern Mexico. It says here, similar errors. Go down. Similar errors, which are blatant falsehoods and not simply matters of interpretation, undermine a chart on every score. Plus, there is no literary or genetic or linguistic connection between Mexico and Issachar. And I don't say this to mock as much as to help those who really want truth from the Most High. Haiti is not Levi. Let me go down. It says Haiti is not Levi. In fact, there is not a stitch of concrete evidence connecting the Haitians to the Levites any more than there is a factual connection between any of the peoples on this chart and the specific tribes of Israel that are claimed. Deuteronomy 33, verse 10, they shall teach Jacob thy judgments and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee and the whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. This does not apply to the Haitian people. This too cannot apply to the Haitians as a people. They do not follow the Torah or observe the Sabbath or circumcise their sons on the eighth day. Only 6% of the men are circumcised at all or eat only biblically kosher food, let alone teach all Israel to follow the Torah. Haiti is not Levi. Third proof, slide was not displayed. I don't get that. I don't get that. Again, I didn't write this. Someone on Clubhouse posted this. It says here, DNA studies, some of them published by former Mormon leaders, make clear that these people have an East Asian or Siberian descent. You know what's funny? Real quick sidebar on this. If you read Medina's work, which he quoted to say that they were Issachar, I believe it's Medina. So there was two schools of thoughts. I'm going off memory here. One school of thought is that the lost tribes of Israel were in the Americas, and they may have came during the time of the Assyrian conquest. The other school of thought was that they came from the Bering Strait. So before we had the evidence of the Bering Strait, that was already being hypothesized. But they still believe they were Israelites. They just thought they went a different route. So those were two schools of thoughts. If I'm not mistaken, Medina is the one, he was leaning towards them coming through the Bering Strait, which lines up with our genetic and archaeological findings that show that they went through the Bering Strait, or they came from Central Asia and they made their way to the Americas 15,000 years ago. So this is why this brother has to deny archaeology. He has to deny the entire field of archaeology, the entire field of anthropology, the entire field of genetics to make his doctrine work, because all of these things contradict this 12 tribe chart. So he's willing to just dismiss everything so he can be right. But anyway, it says it makes clear that all these people have an East Asian or Siberian descent, not a Middle Eastern or even African descent. This was a revelation for these former Mormons since the Book of Mormon. Like the 12 tribes chart claims that Native Americans were actually Israelites. This information caused the leaders to leave Mormonism behind, and the source is losing a lost tribe book. And note that large-scale genetic studies indicate that these Native Americans were here on our continent even before Israel was formed as a nation. Source ancient DNA confirms Native Americans' deep roots in North and South America. And you can't get around this. How do you get around that? If you have specimens, you have skeletal remains that matches the DNA of modern Native Americans, you can't get around that? You have to do it Salazar or GRLA Hebrew is doing, which is dismissing the entire field of archaeology, the field of genetics, and the field of anthropology. You have to just dismiss it all. And once you do that, then you're pseudo. You have rightfully earned the title pseudo. Go ahead, JT Mac.
No, I was going to ask you. You may have said this already? Is this chart available publicly, or did you download this?
I downloaded it from the Clubhouse room they were in. You know how you can pin different articles or videos at the top. Someone pinned this article. So I guess they were reading it or reviewing it. I can email it to you.
Okay, cool. I'll put my email in the back chat.
All right.
Hey, replays ain't on no more, fam. You know what I'm saying? I can't even still listen to that joint.
It says here, the fifth proof, the chart contradicts Deuteronomy 28:68. Deuteronomy 28:68 will send you back to Egypt and galleys by a route which I told you should not see again. There you shall offer ourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but none will buy. This verse does not apply to anyone on this chart, especially not Mexicans or Seminole Indians or Central Americans, among others. Not at all. They were never slaves in Egypt, let alone sent back in ships back to Egypt as slaves. As for the idea that Egypt sometimes does not refer to a physical place in the Old Testament, but rather to any place of slavery and bondage, that too is completely bogus, which I can easily demonstrate if this point is challenged. In fact, if you just read two more verses into Deuteronomy 29, Moses tells you this refers to literal Egypt. Ruga says they're not talking about the same Americans you talk about. I don't think they mean haplogroup Q. They say that they are imposters also. It's impossible. Who are they talking about, Dan Rail Ruga, when they say Native Americans? If they're talking about the other groups are largely European infused.
They're talking about the sea markers, bro. It's the Polynesians.
They're talking about the sea markers. No, they're talking about Native Americans, the indigenous people. And when you talk about the indigenous people that were here before Columbus, pre-colonial people, when you talk about them, then you're dealing with the Spirit Man, the Spirit Man cave. You're dealing with the Kennewick man, right? You're dealing with the Clovis culture, because these are the people that were here before. And when we look at and we analyze their DNA is largely Central Asian, Siberian in origin, not Levantine. And the power behind this is the fact that we have ancient DNA samples to compare. You know, he keeps saying, "Oh, well, you can't use haplogroups to trace ancestry." Okay, so that's assume he's right. So you can use haplogroups to match. You can't do it for ancient ancestry. But what about matching modern peoples? Native Americans don't match with African Americans. Genetically, they do not. They don't match. They don't share the same signatures on the Y chromosomes in large enough numbers to make a comparison. They don't. If I was debating him, I would just brought that up. Okay, so you're trying to dismiss the main purpose of DNA in the field of genomics, which is to show ancestry, elucidate ancestry. Okay, fine. Even though that's ludicrous, you can use it to match genetically today with modern groups. Why don't African Americans, by and large, match with Native Americans? Why don't they? If they all share the same common male ancestor, they should all share the same Y chromosome. Stop it, man. Anyway, it says here, the sixth proof, the chart ignores the real Jews who preserved the Hebrew. And it says here, preserve the Hebrew Bible in Hebrew language. It is the people that the world recognizes as Jews today who suffered the terrible curses of Deuteronomy 28, and all the peoples listed on the chart who, to repeat with rare exception, have no connection whatsoever to ancient Israel. Real Ruger, what you say? Because it's through their mamas. What you talking about? What are you talking about, brother? If you're talking about African Americans, there are African Americans that do have maternal Native American DNA. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. Says here, why are the Jews today white when the ancient Israelites were not? Proofs on who the real Jews are, who are the real children of Israel debate. Says first proof here. The first proof, DNA confirms the authenticity of Ashkenazi Jews. Source genome-wide data from medieval German Jews show that the Ashkenazi founder event predated the 14th century. And we actually read this paper live on Genesis 49ers. This paper revealed that there were 3, what they think is children that were most likely killed in a pogrom in England in the Middle Ages. And they were able to get viable DNA from the skeletal remains. They were all 3 males that they were able to sequence. One of them had a haplogroup J1, the other had T1, and then the third one was an E1B1B clade. And what's interesting about that finding as well is that they were all like of different phenotypes as far as skin color, eye color, and stuff of that nature. One was like intermediate to dark skin. One was pale with like blue eyes. One had red hair. So it was very interesting paper. And it does talk about their DNA tracing back and connecting with Levantine people, which is a kill shot because, again, Al-Azhar in this debate, he presented Wexler's work and said they were non-Levantine, but the DNA says they are Levantine. So anyway, let's keep going. Second proof, Ashkenazi Jews have lived by Torah and Jewish traditions. Third proof, God has brought us back to the land of Israel in accordance with promises. Now it says Al-Azhar's second opening statement. And okay, what did y'all say about this? 'Cause I didn't see this entire show. What do y'all think about opening this debate with this verse? Can anybody tell me your opinion on that? Revelation 2:9.
Appeal to emotion.
Yeah, this was rebel rousing. This is what this was. Again, this is why it's hard to win that crowd over, because in their mind, he's the devil. He's Satan. Everything he says is wrong. They're the synagogue of Satan, the father of lies. So how do you win a group over like that? You know, I don't see you doing it, in a debate setting. I'm sorry. But anyway, it says Revelation 2:9, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Romans 3, verse 4. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in our sins and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Isaiah 8:20. Look to God's instructions and teachings. People who contradict his word are completely in the dark. So all of this is not scholarly. This is just him trying to demonize his opponent, right? By, saying that he's a synagogue of Satan, and discredit him by saying he's a synagogue of Satan. This is him trying to, make the audience, pretty much look at Dr. Brown and his arguments as fallacious from the beginning, because there's something inherently wrong with him. This is not how you properly debate. This is just nonsensical. But a lot of his followers are claiming he won it. But this is what he presented, you guys. Alazar says this is not about who can become an Israelite. This is about who is a legitimate offspring, which is funny. How do you determine someone as an offspring? You have to utilize DNA at some point. You're not going to go to court to determine paternity with scripture, with prophecy. This is my son because prophecy says so. Or you're not going to do that. You're not going to even use lookership. You're not going to even go to the court and say, "Oh, he has my nose." No, you're going to want a DNA test to confirm that. So anyway, reading on. Numbers 1, verse 18 says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. He does it. Like, how do you know who your father is? How do you know that? Especially when you guys are trying to claim that you descend from someone who lived roughly 3,000 years before present. How do you determine that? We just have to believe you. You just say that you are, and that's it. Affirmation is not confirmation. This is not an argument. You never demonstrated how you can make these connections. You just say that you are, and that's the end of the conversation. Again, terrible argument. Ezra 2, verse 59. And these were they which went up from Malah to Harsa, Cherub, Adad, and Immer. But they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel, and the sons of an Israelitish woman whose father was an Egyptian went out among the children of Israel, and the son of the Israelitish woman and the man of Israel strove together in the camp. Leviticus 24, verse 10. So he kind of jumbled these scriptures together. The first scripture, Ezra 2, verse 59, I believe that was dealing with the priest, but I have to look at my Bible and see. I don't get where he was going with the second verse. Maybe someone on the panel can explain where he was going with Leviticus 24, verse 10. Anyway. Go ahead, JT, man. Go ahead.
No, I was still stuck on Revelations 2 and 9. And if you read that in context, it doesn't even, it's written to a particular congregation. It says the church in Smyrna. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but basically saying it's just saying that there are some Jews who go around slandering them, and they, I don't know how you turn it around and put that on the Jews in Israel. It's just funny. I don't get that connection there. Maybe somebody can help me because I don't get that one.
Well, to see how BHIs operate, everything's esoteric. So they'll take you to a scripture in Hosea that says double. It says something about twofold, and what they'll say is scriptures have two meanings. So they will say, well, yeah, brother, it says that there, but that church is spiritual. So that's really talking about them. They would spin it, brother. Trust me. They will make it fit, even if it doesn't. It's called a shoehorn fallacy.
It's called to see what had happened was doctrine.
Yeah.
The Most High and give you that understanding doctrine.
Mm-hmm. Your eyes are closed. That's why he started off saying you're in the dark.
No, that's that ashy need doctrine.
Well, to your point also, when you were saying how do they know, how do you just know certain things? And like there was a guy in your chat, you guys' chat earlier, when you were, breaking down the debate. He just made a real bold claim, something like he knew that for a fact that he was a direct descendant of Judah. and I asked him point blank, how do you know that you're a direct descendant of Judah? Based on what evidence? That you just believe that, or you got some scientific, or you got some DNA? What is it that you have? Some history that's passed down through your family lineage? What is it that you were using to boldly proclaim that you know for a fact that you're a direct descendant of Judah? I never got an answer, but those are the kind of claims that a lot of them make. They'll say, from the premise where you're not, or those people are not the real people, and those people this and that and the other, and this, that, and other. And then I'll ask a simple question. Well, how do you know you are?
Right.
And I never get a good answer.
It's the prophecies, brother.
The curses. Everything goes back to the curses, and they get to interpret. They get to interpret the curses in any shape, form, or fashion.
And that's terrible, man. That's a terrible way to connect yourself to the people of God. That's just, to me, that's just awful, because Deuteronomy doesn't just contain curses; it contains blessings too. So I mean, throughout it, and here's it. We all know this. Throughout Israel history, they would worship God. They would repent from their wrongdoing, worship God, be in good standings for a while. Then they would start sinning and following other gods and doing crazy stuff, and then they get judged, and then they sometimes go into exile, or other punishments will fall on them. They repent, the Lord would accept them back, and and then it was just a continuous cycle. So they had blessings and cursings throughout their time in the nation. They weren't just always cursed. So why is it that then these folk who claim to be Israelites, only thing they got to hold on is curses? That doesn't make any sense to me. But then the other people, they had some curses. The people in the land had some curses, quote unquote curses, because they had some bad things happen to them. But they also have some good things. But because they have some good things happening, they can't possibly be the people. That's just not biblical.
I think another point to take in is that they're making all of the converts, or all of the converts, the bad guys in the corruption of Israel, and not paying attention to what Israel did to themselves. Prior to any incursion, or any uh, um, convert doing anything evil or wicked, you know, Israel was doing that on their own. I think they don't like take time to look at that as well. Where we
Oh,
did a lot
brother.
of things to our
Oh,
own. We did a lot of things to our own. We did a lot of things going against scripture, the laws, statutes and commandments. So it's not just like they came in and they corrupted the whole situation. We was already doing it.
brother, follow up to what you just said. That was a guy on Berean today that claimed, because he was getting nailed by Elder Mike, and he claimed that the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt was all destroyed in the desert. And and So none of them received the covenant.
He
The
That sound
claimed
like
what?
Bruce. That sound like Bruce.
kid you not, bro. It was funny, but it was like crazy. And he
Was
and
that
we
Bruce?
Hold on. Did he
all
come up with the Dante doctrine in the sense to where like he was saying that they were that the mixed multitude was removed from Israel at one point, or is he saying that did he say like they didn't come that they didn't make it through the 40 years in the desert?
they didn't make the covenant at all. They didn't, get none of the,
Oh
none of
wow.
the laws, the statutes, nothing that the covenant that the covenant that Moses brought to the people. No, I don't think it was. No, it wasn't Bruce. It was another guy that
But he
got
made
on
that
there.
argument. Yeah, but he made that
Yo.
argument one time.
Oh,
He
Bruce
did.
made the same argument. No, it was another guy, and he was asked to prove that all the mixed multitude was destroyed because the mixed multitude is the reason why Aaron made the golden calf. Blah blah blah. Right. So the he asked for proof, and then they said, well, did any of the Israelites get destroyed? Because of the golden calf. Blah blah blah. Right. Dude was like, well, yeah, some of them probably did, but all the mixed multitude was destroyed, and they did not receive the covenant. That was the boldest statement that was made today.
If you can find the timestamp of that video, maybe we could play it if y'all want.
Oh, brother, I dig it up right now. If Berean didn't, Berean be putting stuff on private, but I'll dig it up right now.
Hey, JT Mac,
Thank
you
you,
only feel
JT
like
Mac.
that about them curses. You only feel like that about them curses because you got good knees. That's why you feel like that about them curses.
Yeah, if you could find that JT Mac, thank you, because I want to hear, I want to see who it was that made that argument. Because, like I said, Bruce made that argument before as well.
So was he saying when they built the golden calf, like so when Moses had the one camp, what I'm saying, march over to the other side with with swords or whatnot, that's when they got wiped out or what? Or like did he at least give like Korah's rebellion something like that?
No, he's saying when the people had to agree to accept the covenant, when Moses, brought the covenant, and they had to agree to accept the covenant and all that, um, all the mixed multitude was destroyed. So let me dig up the video and we can get it verbatim.
Yo, how my man said? Only in America.
So,
Yo, we
do
got
anybody else got questions though about um this debate?
The link is at the top. Everybody in the that's watching the video, that's in the comments. If y'all want to come up, you can. The link is there. Just
don't be
no
scared.
cursing.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. This is not, that kind of forum. We're not, just come on up. Even if you have a question concerning, any question concerning anything that we deal with over here, just come on up.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Yeah, the last live was 4 hours, and this was pushing 2. Speak now.
Or
Speak
forever
now.
hold your peace.
Yeah. Also, fam, if you
Mm-hmm.
can hit the thumbs up, please. Like it, like the video, subscribe. Uh, help us out here. We're trying to get the word out.
Yeah. So
Overall,
what
though, I
would
will
Brown
say it was a
speaking?
good debate, right?
What was that?
Overall, would you say it was a good debate?
No.
I'll say no. I didn't like the format and the fact that they try to fit two topics into the time span of one topic. That's always going to make for a very muddy debate, and whoever's involved. Like, so for instance, like we're very involved with the arguments and whatnot, so we actually were able to understand what both sides were saying, but we had to read in between the lines quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? The average individual is not going to be able to parse that. So like that debate wasn't put together for the audience to be able to understand the information. I had an issue with that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but if you take it one topic at a time, I think like within that debate, you can find good aspects of the debate and whatnot. We'll say yo.
I didn't like that. Like nobody really pinned down their arguments. You know, I mean, the topic. You know, uh, I know some people see it a little different. You know, amongst us, I just feel like like nobody hammered down. I mean, there were points made. And a lot of points were made off of slip ups. You know, by the opponent. On either side. Like them being able to like pull up sources and really like nail home their argument. I know your shoe feels that Brown nailed down his argument. um I just felt like it floated. There was no real pinning down of either person's argumentation. That's my personal thought.
Yeah, I just
You
put.
should be trying to show something.
How dare you come on here darker than GRLA Hebrew?
One of his followers called me white today, which was funny. I was like, but your leader is, never mind. Can y'all see this?
Not really, no.
Oh my God.
Not.
Your
trying
your
Uh,
your screen, your background is
yes,
blurring it.
Okay.
causing distortion. It's distorting it.
This is Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, okay? I own this book. I used
Oh,
to
that's the
argue.
old book.
Yeah, I used to argue from this book all the time, and I got it on the first page, page 164. Indians are Israel, right? So he used this source, and I want to go get it off my shelf because he used this source to say that the 12 tribes chart was right because it has the Seminole Indians as Reuben, and the island nearby is referenced as Joseph. So therefore, they got Ephraim right, and they got the Seminole Indians correct on the chart. The problem is this book does not say that the Indians that Montezino was talking to were Seminole Indians. It gives the location, so I want to show this on the stream, but never mind. Anyway, I'll just read it. I don't have the digital copy of this.
I was about to say, usually you have a digital copy of everything.
I don't
I'm
have a digital.
surprised.
Um, so let me see if I can find this. It's been a while since I looked at it because I read that and I was like, wait a minute. It doesn't say that he was in Florida somewhere. Where are they getting that from? But just like everything else, it's eisegesis. So not only they perform and execute eisegesis on the Bible, they do it on other books. So if you go to page 164, you'll see the account. It says, oh no, this is not the page. This is Bartolomeo de las Casas. Let me find it real quick.
Hey, Moore, I put the video link in the back chat and it starts about the 1 hour 13-minute mark.
That's what's up. I say this all the time, fam. The Hebrew Israelite argument, the BHI argument cannot exist. It cannot exist without special pleading. It can't exist without with the eisegesis and the special pleading. It's not possible, fam. Not even possible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You have to ignore so much to make your claim.
You got to suspend rational belief. It's like, come on, fam, stop it.
I'm sorry, real quick. I got a question for Blacktastic. Blacktastic, I didn't know Ben Benitez was fighting tonight. Which one, the older brother or the big one or the little one? Which brother is fighting?
Wait, who? Oh, y'all talking about boxing?
Yeah, he's watching the fight. He's I didn't know Benavidez was fighting tonight. He's like the gorilla of the middleweights. Mexican cat. Been dropping cats for his brother boxes too. So I don't know if it's the little one or the big one. I was just asking him. Sorry.
Hey, are you familiar with the argument from Lost Tribes and Promised Lands?
Yeah, I have the book. I haven't read it since I bought that book. You know how old that book was? I mean, well, how long ago I bought that book? So
I see that book when it was cheap.
Right. I see. Yeah, that book had went up to like I think like I think I bought it. It was like $18. It went up to like, I think it hit at its peak, might be like $400 or $500, if I'm not mistaken. And then it would drop back down again. How much is it now? Does anybody know?
They redid it. It dropped down severely because they what do you call it? Republished it, I think.
Second
Yeah,
issue.
second issue.
Mm-hmm. So chapter 16 is about the friars and the lost tribes. I really want to find it because I want to read it. If you read this book, it's basically in Central America. It's not in Florida. It's not in Florida. Montesinos was somewhere in Central America, and so like the claim that he's making that this is like somehow validating the 12 tribes chart cannot even be reconciled with this pseudo source. It can't even be reconciled with it. And I wish I could find it real quick so I can just read it. I'll read it to you guys.
This is the part that gets me, right? Like, so he makes his claims, like all his claims for anything Native American being connected to Israelites is Mesoamerican and maybe Muskogean, right? Somewhere around those two areas, right? But you can't demonstrate, like, so we already know where the migrations of these people come from. You can't, like, can you demonstrate, like, you know what I'm saying, like some Hebrew culture in Canada, Alaska, Washington State somewhere? Like they picked up the Hebrew culture in Mexico, my G. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they can't. They can't. And according to them, there should be no one here before the time of the Assyrian conquest. Why do we see people here? Why do we see civilization here?
Hey, does Sakari still say that Israel is in Israel? Have they moved the location of Israel yet or no?
I think they still do. I don't see them getting that crazy.
Because they awfully close to some Jerusalem type stuff, bro. Like they're getting right there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of teeter and tottering on that line when you bring up Native Indians as being Israelites, and that the Americas is the promised lands. Is really what this book is about, right? Because Columbus is the one allegedly that first used Second Ezra's to say that the Americas was the promised lands that the Israelites were going to. So if anyone's familiar with that story, this book makes that claim.
Hey, more, you know, the nation, excuse me, Israel is on an African tectonic plate, brother.
Israel is Northeast Africa.
No, all of y'all are wrong. Israel is in Ethiopia.
It's in Peru.
Jerusalem.
Y'all gonna learn about Jerusalem, fam.
Man, y'all are all wrong. The true Israelites are the Filipinos. Go watch
Ooh.
the God culture.
Ooh,
Yeah, he makes
I forgot about that content.
Hey, some good lumpia make me believe in God though, for real. I ain't gonna lie.
That's Answers in Genesis, right? Am I right? No, that's
The God culture.
God culture. Yes.
They come and comment in my videos on the location of the Garden of Eden, saying it's actually in the Philippines. I'm like, if y'all don't stop.
Hold on, for real?
That's
Yeah,
funny.
I
Yeah.
can
You
screenshot.
never watched
Hold
his
up.
work?
Wait, what?
I was talking to Mo. You never watched his work?
I didn't hear what who you're talking about. Who you talking about?
The God
God
culture.
culture.
No.
This
Yeah,
is
he's
YouTuber with like I think 400,000 subscribers or something like that.
yeah, he's big.
Yeah, basically says, you know,
He did do
Israelites are Filipinos.
Yeah, he did do a piece on Judah and said that Judah was uh, African American,
Yeah, but
and
he
he's
also said,
European. He's European, and when I say European, I mean he's what we would most people would say. He's white, and I got a feeling he's married or he's in love with the Philippine continent. I mean, with the Philippine islands, the Filipino islands, and he may be married to a Filipino.
Hey, Avery, I'm gonna use your favorite source. I should have just went to this first. I tried to find it in the book.
nah,
You know your favorite source, brother. Admit it.
never.
So the wiki article on Antonio de Montezinos, also known as Aharon Levi, was a Portuguese traveler and a Marrano Sephardic Jew who in 1644 persuaded Manasseh ben Israel, a rabbi of Amsterdam, that he found one of the 10 lost tribes living in the jungles of the Quito province of Ecuador. So if you listen to the debate, he's claiming that this is like cementing the idea that Seminole Indians are Aruban. But this is not even talking about Florida. It has nothing to do with the Florida tribes. It has nothing to do with Seminole at all, Seminole Indians. This is in Ecuador, right? This is in Ecuador. And you would know this if you actually read the book outside of that little quote they isolate. If you read the book, he was in Ecuador where he had the alleged encounter with these Indians who told him that they were from the tribe of Reuben, and the tribe of Joseph was in an island. So this has nothing to do with the 12 tribes chart. It doesn't even claim that these are Seminole Indians or the Seminole Indians are Reuben. That has nothing to do with it. So I had to cheat and go to Wiki because I couldn't see it in my book. But hey, there it is, public knowledge.
Hold on, wait. So my man's citing a whole Sephardic Jew.
He's citing a Sephardic Jew and he's misrepresenting him. He's saying that it was Florida.
Okay, so where would Ecuador put this tribe on the 12 tribes chart, my G?
I think Asher.
Oh boy.
I think Asher.
So the islands next to Asher, wow,
would be Joseph if we're following the logic, right?
So we're talking about like what, Curacao or what? Like
something like that.
Like the Dutch Bahamas and whatnot, my G? What are you saying?
Something like that.
You just switched it all the way up.
Oh, it would have to be something like that. It's not specific what it just says an island nearby, right? So, but somewhere close to Ecuador, which is not what the dang 12 tribes chart says, but they're using this to say that, hey, this is like a nail in the coffin. This is like concretizing our argument because it's talking about the Seminole Indians. That's you reading your ideas into the source. Even though the source itself is fallacious, there's no proof for this. This was just a claim, But again, in the beginning of his debate, he tries to hold Brown to that standard of using peer-reviewed sources and scientific arguments, but this is not. This is
his peer-reviewed source, huh?
Yeah, this is fairy tale stuff, bro. Let me see. Where's the actual quote that he took from the book?
So out of the two people in the interaction, which one was most likely haplogroup R?
Definitely Salazar Slytherin. GRLA Hebrew. Definitely him. Even though on Clubhouse today he tried to deny it.
So help me out, bro. When they say Hispanics and Latinos, because like they literally so Brown was literally quoting Alazar saying like blacks and Latinos and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. When they say Hispanics and Latinos, they don't mean Hispanics and Latinos. They just mean Native Americans and whatnot. Because how do you throw Latinos into the mix and Hispanic? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was surprised Brown like he didn't touch that as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know why either, but I would have used the Latinos to show that hey, this group is greatly admixed. I actually had a debate with Jose Vega and crushed him. And these guys always go to De La Casa's work to prove that
Mhm.
the Native Indians fit the or the Latinos and Native Indians fit the curses, right? I'll say you do realize that book shows you that many of the people today that are Hispanic or mestizo are descendants of Western Europeans paternally. He says, no, it doesn't. I went straight to the page and he disowned the entire book. It's a pattern with these guys. Soon as they see something that contradicts their narrative, they want to dismiss the entire thing. Now, De Las Casas is not a good source, but wait a minute. You've been using De La Casas to go straight. Okay, anyway, if anyone's not familiar, you go to De La Casa's work, and then you go to the book of Hosea, right, where it says they hung the woman, cut open their wombs, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. And you say, see, this was a fulfillment of what was written in Hosea. So they would use those type of arguments, and in their mind, that concretizes their argument and say, this is fact that we're Israel because this happened to us, just as it was explained in the book of Hosea. But they're willing to dismiss all of that as soon as you show that, hey, he said that a lot of the men were getting killed and the Spaniards were sleeping with the women and to pretty much repopulate. Go ahead, brother.
Oh man, you just said Jose Vega, and it's reminded me of like so many conversations with the LHI, and I was like, you know what? I was like, who's more of a confused population with their arguments, the BHI or the LHI? And I was like, I don't even know. it's a straight toss up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you think about it because it's like on the Latino side, I have seen that some Hispanic people do actually have like a little bit of Sephardic Jewish DNA.
We
And
are
if
the
they go down
Sephardians.
that route, they could go make some
This is
good
about to get
claims.
interesting. This is about to get interesting. So this is House Today, but I do believe you were on Barin's channel
Yeah,
earlier.
they kicked me out, and then that full guy came in and tried to talk, and then he ran, and then they let me back in. I wonder why. And then they took the channel down, the video down. I wonder why. But anyways, we are the Sephardic, bro, and the natives are the Shemitic Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrews, the original Hebrews, we are the Hebrews, bro. We're the Shemitic Hebrew Israelites who mix with each other. That's the real. And then we are chosen with all nations all over the world, so they look different. But
So
we
you
are
disagree with
the
this? Hold on, real quick. So you disagree with the 12 tribes chart the way that Sakar teaches it, correct?
yeah, pretty much. They don't even. It's not even accurate.
So
And there are 13 tribes actually, if you want to be real about it.
I heard you saying that earlier. Break down the 13 for us real quick.
Or forget about Dan.
Okay.
They only go with the 12. There's 12 families, but there's 13 tribes, because Joseph is 2 tribes, right? Just do the math.
So who are the Israelites in America as far as you're concerned?
How did he
Oh,
find us?
huh?
Hey, we're having a Jarvis
Okay,
conversation.
all right. Yeah, that's not what this channel's for. But how
No, because this is dealing with their arguments and whatnot, right? Like so,
Yeah. Let's go. Let's
we,
go.
we did we did we just I just brought up the LHI.
Because basically the problem is the chart is not all the if the chart is accurate. The argument basically is if the Hispanics or the natives are Israelites. That's what everybody's argument is about. Because that's what y'all talk about. Basically.
So you're saying that the Hispanics and the natives are Israelites?
Yeah, because that guy, that vocal doesn't. He thinks we're not. That guy the other thing doesn't know. He that's the argument, bro. Pretty much. Because that's what people don't like the chart, because we're the Hispanics and the natives are right there. That's why they don't like it.
So, in your understanding, like, so how are the Hispanics and both Israelites?
Ezekiel 37 talks about the tree, right?
Okay.
When it's talk about things, it's meaning the tribes to get together, right?
Mm-hmm.
They make between one family, one tree, right?
Okay.
So what happened? The Hispanics that came mixed with the natives, right? and become one tree.
Do they have the same root?
Yes, we are the Hebrews become. All
Is,
right.
is it,
First of all, you have to study where Abraham came from,
are
the
you saying
origin,
that? Are
the
you talking
genetic.
about the olive? Are you talking about the olive branch? Is that what you're saying? The tree? When you say the tree, you talk about the olive branch. You talk about
What
the
are you
olive
talking?
that was split in two, the two sticks.
The two families. When it sticks, is family.
Hmm,
You go to the
okay.
what the word. That's what it is. Literally tree. You know how you have family tree. A stick is part of a tree, right?
So for you, are you saying that both are bloodline descendants of the Hispanics and the Native Americans, or that one is and the
Yeah,
one's
they're the
not?
Hebrews.
On
They're the
both sides.
Hebrews.
Both sides.
Yeah, both sides. That's what I'm saying. That's what the scriptures say, and that's what archaeology and history says, and migration patterns say.
Migration patterns say that Hispanics and natives have the same migration.
No, cause look, first you have to go. Who's a Hebrew? Ibra, right? Ibra and the scriptures. You know the scriptures in Genesis. You understand? And then there's Yaqtan and Pele, right? And then Yaqtan, and then Abraham came through Pele, right? So they consider Hebrews, right? You understand? So the people from Yaqtan, they were the first that went to the Asian continent, right? Then Abraham came through. Abraham. People talk about your what you guys know where Abraham came from. They came between the Euphrates and the Tigris. The real your what they call that one, not the one in summer. All right,
Okay.
that's the real one. That's what the Israelites come from. That's what the Native American. That's what the Hebrews. That's what called the Hebrews. The one that crossed over when we crossed the river, the Euphrates. That Yahweh gave us that land to Abraham. You know the scriptures, right? So from there, someone was went to the east to Asia. Some went to Egypt, right? And some even went through the Ibra Peninsula, which is Spain. So they were Hebrews over there already.
Rewind that one. Take me back to Spain right quick.
The Ibra, the Ibra Peninsula, the
Okay.
Hebrew Peninsula. All right.
So
So
when
that's
when when
another
when did they
migration.
get?
Hold on, bro. You have to understand migration patterns, and that was prior. That was when prior to the Exodus. Prior to the Exodus, still, I'm not even going to the Exodus yet. And then when Joseph was in Egypt, the what they call the Asiatics, look it up, bro. They went. We were right there in Avaris, bro.
So
And then
real
we
quick,
went that.
real quick. Hold on, real quick. I'm trying to understand something. So
Huh.
you're saying the Iberian Peninsula, like Spain and Portugal, was the Iberian Peninsula before the Exodus?
Well, wasn't it what word it wasn't Ibra the Hebrew born before the Israelites?
When did the Iberian Peninsula get populated with this migration that you're talking about?
Well, most likely by the Hebrews
When?
prior to the Exodus,
Based upon what evidence?
based upon archaeology,
Okay,
based
such
on the
as
name, bro. Hebrew, all right, Peninsula. That was one, and then during the time when haven't even
what?
gone to the Israelites, haven't gone to the Israelite part yet, bro.
So hold on,
So
real
they're
quick.
already
You're
Hebrews.
saying, hey,
There
hold
was
on, hold on,
Hebrews
hold on,
on
hold
this
on, hold on.
continent.
Hold on, bro.
There was Hebrews on this continent.
You gotta let me catch up. You gotta let me catch up. You gotta let me catch up. Like so, you know where you're going. I don't. I'm trying to follow you. Yeah, not trying to stop you. Trying to follow you. Okay.
Mm.
So your claim is that the Iberian Peninsula by its name, that's how we know.
Yeah, because the Hebrews, bro, literally the Hebrews, they went and there were people on the sea, bro. They migrated through Asia, they migrated through the Mediterranean, they migrated to Egypt, and then later on, the Israelites came and did the same thing, bro. Because we're family, all right, all right,
So when are you saying the Iberian Peninsula was named the Iberian Peninsula?
bro. That's not the point. Are you getting stuck in Spain, bro? Still,
Yeah, because you're so I have to understand the two migrations because you're saying the Hispanics and the natives,
Yeah,
right?
well,
They're
there's a
meeting up
lot.
they're meeting up in the Americas, right?
Yeah, they're gonna meet up in the Americas.
Right. So I'm
Lot of
trying to
times,
figure. I got to understand the migration on how they
multiple
got to
times
the Americas,
actually.
right? And
Multiple
so
times.
I'm trying to figure out the when and the where on what you're saying because
Right.
different.
Well,
Hold on,
they
wait,
haven't
real
even
quick.
gone
Because different people say they got here at different times. So I'm trying to figure out
well,
when you're saying this happened.
The Hebrews been on the peninsula, bro. The Hebrews, not the Israelites. I'm not even getting to the Israelites yet. I'm talking about Yaqtan and the sons, right? Ibra has sons, right? You understand?
So
People constantly
we're not even talking
migrate,
about
they
like modern
still want.
Spain and Portugal. We're talking about like Shem's grandkids was up there.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, bro.
Wow, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, and then I'm also to this continent migration patterns, bro. Noah had a boat. You think we know how to make boats? We go through the coast, bro.
So were
All right.
Shem's great grandkids were they the Hispanics or was that another population that made the Hispanics?
Well, I'm getting to the Israelites, and then during the time of Joseph, they went, and then during that time, the Israelites also went throughout the Mediterranean and throughout to this continent too. You get you study Egyptian the Egyptian history, bro. It matches during that time period before, like during the Exodus, and then you see Shemitic the language over here the language that Nawa called the Nawa is a mixture of Hebrew, Egyptian, Shemitic, Hebrew, Egyptian, Shemitic, Hebrew. That's what it is. What they call the Nawa.
Real quick, I got to ask the panel a question to make sure that they're keeping up. Okay. So in y'all's opinion, what makes what's more outlandish, this conversation or a conversation like Battle Axe and Akmalat?
What do you mean? Where do the Israelite wherever it come from? Do you
Oh,
want to do extra?
I'm asking the panel.
Man, Battle Axe. Oh man, this is hard. This is tough.
I actually would say 50-50.
Bruh, I'm with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's so this goes to that earlier question: who got the crazy doctor in the Americas, right? The VHI or the LHI? You feel what I'm saying?
I think it'll be crazy to say that the land of Israel and everything in the Bible happened in America itself. Yeah, that would be crazy. Just like if people were to say all the events of the Bible happened in sub-Saharan Africa, yeah. But in terms of like the idea of some Latin peoples being descendants of Israelites and some African American peoples being descendants of Israelites, I don't think that will be crazy. It just depends on how you say it.
Right.
But I guess that's not quite what you're asking, but you know.
Yeah, how
I honestly couldn't even tell you because I'm not paying attention to anything he has to say. To be real with you, I'm gonna let y'all play with y'all food. Excuse me. This is my channel. You gonna let me speak on my channel, or you can leave. Because entertaining you is a courtesy, and you don't have to be here on this panel. All right, we're not gonna do that. Well, I'm not gonna play with you. They will play with you, but I'm not about to play with you.
If did I hear him right when he said? Did he say that Abraham was the descendant of Pele? Or is Pele? If that's what he said, is Pele supposed to be like a translation of a different name or something?
No, he's right.
He's talking about
Abraham
Peleg
does
and whatnot.
descend
So
from Peleg.
he's going down the table of nations and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Right, not on this channel, please.
So, I kicked him already. Like, so, and that answered my question, whatnot. So, yeah, but I'd be wrong if I wanted to see the debate between him and Battle Axe, fan.
That would be interesting.
That'll be an epic.
I think Battle Axe might win. Well, Akmalak might win.
No, I think they might tie.
Oh, really? Because I feel like they'll have more energy than him.
I don't know. He seemed like he got energy. He just was trying to hold it back. But I think if you got him on with some camp dudes, that'd be a wild and interesting conversation and debate.
Yeah, like so, Battle Axe refuses to believe that Hispanics can be in Native Americans can be Israelites in any way, shape, or form. So that'd be crazy. But I was hoping to see. I was hoping he had like some form of a coherent.
Battle Axe was just run. Let's be real.
No, not from that dude. No, not from that dude, bro. Like Battle Axe would show up in a real clean camp suit for that dude.
Oh,
like super. Like I gotta give it to Battle Axe, bro. Like his camp gear is the cleanest camp gear I've seen in a you know what I'm saying in a long time.
Bro, I thought we left them dudes over there. They migrated their way over here. It's crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I get that, but not here, not on this.
I was hoping he had some kind of coherent argument.
Because, yeah, but you know, honestly, they could click the link over at the other channel, and they never do. So if they're not going to do it there, they're not going to come over here and sully this channel. They're not going to. I'm sorry. I'm not going to entertain them over here.
No, I'm not mad at you. That's why I kicked him. Like once they got to the nonsense, they got to a certain level. Like, okay, cool. Like so, I'm gonna hear you out to see if you got to argue. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna encounter a bunch of craziness, man. It's just
no,
like
that's cool. That's cool. But I'm saying he came from over there. He came from
Genesis 49.
Genesis 49ers, yes. Yes.
My fault. I'd never seen him on the panel.
That whole click, but they never clicked the link, or like I'm saying, or if they do, it's not like they get cooked over there. Now they want to bring it over here. Not this channel. You're not going to sell it this channel. Over there is where we give all the fire. That's where we give all that energy to. This is different.
Right. No worries. That was definitely no scholastic argument or whatnot. Yeah, I'd seen his icon over on Brienne's. I didn't see him over on Genesis 49 before. Like he was on Brienne's the other day. We're not talking about the debate or whatnot. I saw him there for a couple of seconds and whatnot, saying the same thing about the fact that the Hispanics and the Native Americans were both Israelites, and he didn't get a chance to explain why. And I wanted to hear what he had to say on that one. And so that was it came at the right time because I just asked the question, who got the crazy doctrine? I was like, wow, that kind of
that's classic LHI.
Yes, that's I'm gonna say this, bro. That's worse than classic LHI. Like I've heard better arguments from LHI than that, fam. Like
so he came up on Brienne and got booted.
I guess so. I didn't see him get booted. I was like when I saw him, I had seen him there for a quick second and flipped the channel, so I didn't even know he got booted or whatnot. But he said he got booted.
Yeah, this is a clean channel over here. You know what kind of energy we give up over on Genesis 49ers, and they don't be wanting to smoke, so not over here.
Probably because he was probably off topic. I would venture to say that topic was not the 12 tribes chart or anything along those lines. You know what I'm saying?
He was probably wilding a little too much, and Brian was like, "All right, I'm done." That's probably what that was, because son, that could easily get wild real quick. I could tell. I could definitely tell. But yeah. So we are past the 2-hour mark, family. If anyone else wants to come up and ask your questions, feel free to do so. How much longer do I want to run this?
Are you still going to play that video link or more?
Oh, you want me to play it? I thought Bree was going to play some more. I got you.
Mark, can you guys do the same format for Garfield versus Alazar?
On their past debate, or are they doing a new one?
No, the one they did last year. More had to think about it.
Yeah, because we already. I thought we reviewed it. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We did, but we did it. Yeah.
You know what? That wouldn't be a bad debate to review because there was really bad arguments on both sides in that debate, fam.
It was different than Brown because like you can clearly see who's whipping who.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be good to cover that one and then also cover a proper scholastic debate too, so people can understand the difference in the tactics and whatnot. Because what I kept hearing with the GRLA Hebrew debate was people just not understanding the difference in styles and whatnot, and not accounting for the difference in styles and whatnot. Styles make fights and whatnot, as far as I'm concerned, right? Mm-hmm. And so, if you think you're not supposed to answer questions and that's a good debate, yeah, GRLA Hebrew ran away with that joint, right? you know, but there's legit people who feel like that's the way you win, right? Like, am I wrong? Like in the conscious community, like that's typically like when you get to like the Q&A, when you get to the crossfire, like you're trying not to give up info, right? That's, you feel me? That's how they do it.
Yeah.
On average. But the really good ones like the people at the top and the people that people are afraid to debate, like, no, they take that part serious and they get it in. Like that's when they're getting money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I hear you. Like that Garfield debate is crazy. Like it's where my man is saying he's lying. Did he really say that in Clubhouse, bro?
Man, if I'm lying, I'm flying and my feet ain't left the ground.
Oh man, I mean, as soon as you said something, they took that joint right off replay. Like, nope.
Hold on, let me look. Let me see.
Or maybe they put something on the room to it, like you got to be a member to get in something. Because I tried to get in, I couldn't hear nothing.
Really?
I couldn't even get in. Yeah. It gave me the red mark on that joint.
God first game.
Anybody going to answer Rob Ruger's question?
Yeah, I was going to answer. I put it up there. So he said, "Is the Bible a source?" It depends on what you're talking about and what context. Like we're talking about, okay, for example, they proved that the Hittites were mentioned in the Bible long before we discovered that there were people called Hittites. That will make the Bible a viable source. Using the Bible as a DNA test kit.
It ain't a paternity test.
Oh my God, that's a big difference, man. That's when you're in pseudo territory.
And it got proven because, okay, so when you go by the curses, here's the issue with the curses. This is what I was talking about. Like by the end of the debate, we're going to see how these two premises hold up or whatnot, right? Because one person he's giving you three things. He's giving you language, DNA, and culture. The other person saying just the curses. Okay, so if you got two different groups that fit curses, right? How do you delineate either one at that juncture? And whenever Alizar ran into that, he had nothing for that.
Right. The Scythians, when he brought out the Scythians to have a tradition of scalping, does that make them Gad? And no, it's other things, but you didn't present other things. You just gave us that one scripture in isolation. Right. Hey, this is how we know they're Gad, because they're known for scalping.
And if you're gonna go by the curses have to be so specific to where like it answers that point. So like, all right, it can't possibly be two people that can fit this, right? But the moment you say, hey, bro, they don't got to be all happen at the same time. It can happen over the course of history. Bruh, you done muddied the water so cold. There's no way at that juncture. And when my man says, hey, you know that the Holocaust was more recent than slavery, yeah? Like, what do you say to that?
They could have went to the General Yahan around and said it was a hoax. At least he didn't do that, you know. Oh man.
Yo, when Brown was going down the line of the Holocaust in Deuteronomy 28, I'm like, yo, like there, I was like, man, rep your set, fam. Like, finally, rep your set, fam. Like, man, because I'm gonna admit this, like, hearing what y'all were talking about in terms of like wanting to hear more of a migration pattern, like I had like I heard what he was doing, and I didn't quite link it up. Like he was making the assumption like you understand that like the Roman Jewry population and whatnot, right? But like otherwise, if you don't understand that, he's just stopping at Rome and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting you back to the Levant and whatnot, right? Other than saying, well, the DNA kind of does take you back there, but he's not showing you that stuff, right? But like, that was like another bad argument that I could see where something could have been better on that one. But beyond that, fam.
Well, the goalpost got moved. It was, you know, a more recent example of persecution. Then it moves to, well, I need an example of persecution within the last 5 years or something. It's right.
Okay, but then you got the problem. He was like, okay, I told you about the Jews that's being persecuted in France and in England and in Russia. That's currently going on. He's like, so what are you saying? And it hand waving.
But according to Benaiah ben Israel, those are black Jews, actually.
Oh man.
Heaven help us.
Hey, Real Ruga, you say y'all smash everybody that uses it as a source, but I agree with y'all information, but y'all dismiss it a lot. I'm just pointing that out. No, it's because
no, bro. As a DNA test, you can't do it. Like, okay. So what is the biblical DNA test that shows who my father is?
Deuteronomy.
I'll wait. You give me the viable test, I'll shut up, bro.
Deuteronomy 28. You didn't know that compares your snips.
28 and me.
So when Michael Brown says, if you're an Israelite, I don't know your background, but if you're an Israelite, our ancestors went through this persecution and whatnot. What do you say then, fam? That's the point. Like when you get to that level of the argument, now walk me through it. Use Deuteronomy 28 to clear up that argument for me. Because again, they both agree. All the whole list of Deuteronomy 28 does not have to happen at the same time. Each curse does not have to happen simultaneously. It can be throughout history. So walk me through that, fam. You got two different people making the same claim. How do you delineate the two?
Right.
And like you brought it. I didn't even think about it, bro. Like when you were talking about you should when you brought up the numbers argument. Like, and I wish Brown would have said like, yo, wait a minute, your people are 7 times bigger than mine. What are you talking about in this country? What are you saying?
Yeah,
7 times. Y'all are the 8th largest country with your money. What are you saying?
That hurts because his whole argument hinges on curses, and you can't even fit that curse correctly, right? So that just pretty much debunks everything he says after that. Because remember, he's saying, I'm not going off of linguistic data. I'm not going off of genetics.
Yep.
None
of that. Yeah. Just the curses. Okay, bro.
Well, I did like when Dr. Brown went through each curse.
Man.
That doesn't apply to you. That doesn't apply to them. That doesn't apply to American Indians. That doesn't apply. This curse doesn't apply to none of y'all. This curse. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are vague, especially in this particular debate. To me, I'm just used to seeing, more a better formatted debate. So that's why this was to me like more of an elementary debate to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I also thought the ships back to Egypt, like when has a ship going back to America? Like they've been here before and then they're brought back here. Which stolen Africans were here before and then brought back here?
I didn't understand your statement. Repeat yourself, bro. I'm sorry.
No, when Dr. Brown was making a point about the ships going back to Africa, as part of the curse in Deuteronomy, you'd be sent back to Egypt. Sent back to Egypt on ships. But they'll make they'll say the transatlantic slave trade is that particular curse, but it says back to Egypt. So when has so then we would turn it around and say back to America. If Egypt represents America, if America it represents Egypt, it would be back to America. When did stolen Africans come to America, leave America, then come back to America on ships? Is basically what I'm saying is what Dr. Brown was trying to say too.
So I got this video queued up, Manji. I think I got the right time. You want to jump into it?
Go ahead, yeah. Get it done. Yeah. Why not? You already got it up.
So what are we listening for in this?
This guy, that guy is going back and forth with Beran and Elder Mike about the basically who the real is.
Oh yeah, I remember. Okay.
And then he bust out with the mixed multitude, all died in the desert or some crazy stuff.
Okay. Ooh.
It's funny when people make that argument because they don't even know they just might, be disproving themselves as being Israelites.
I messed it all up. There we go.
No one way to interpret all other messages, but there are millions of ways. Does not make her a blood Israelite. He's literally talking about blood Israelites in Romans 9, and you're trying to add other people in there. That's why I brought up Edom, because Edom, there were Edomites in the land that converted to being an Israelite and were following the law. But they're not, if you keep reading, they're not considered Israelites.
I disagree with you. Let me show you. Watch this in Acts chapter number 2. Watch in Acts chapter number 2. So I'm not just disagreeing like my man did the other night. And now I'm about to
disagree. You're going to show me Edomites being considered
Israelites.
That's
not the point.
Put Edom down for a minute, brother. Put Edom down for a minute. We just talk in general. I want to talk to mixed multitude. Put the term Edom down for a minute. We'll get to that later. Go ahead, Mike.
Watch what the text says, right? All my Pentecostals know that in Acts chapter number 2, and the Holy Spirit came, the Bible says, and there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. All right? So there were dwelling in Jerusalem, right? The Eudos, the Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. And when they explained who those Jews were, they said Parthians, Medes, Elamites, from Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, those from Egypt, parts of Libya, Cyrene, visitors of Rome, both Jews and proselytes. Notice these proselytes were considered with the devout Jews from every nation under heaven, because a proselyte is counted as one born in the land. He say there was a dwelling in Jerusalem, devout Jews plus other folks. No, these proselytes who had embraced the law, circumcision, up in Jerusalem, celebrating Pentecost, were counted as Jews. Y'all just don't want to count them because y'all think this is strictly a bloodline thing. When
always looked at a prophet.
Wait. I'm listening to Elder Mike defend circumcised Jews right now as being Jews. Like, this is some funny stuff right now. Like he just did some reverse Judaizing thing right now. What just happened? Oh, okay, no one else caught that. Okay, that was just me. Got you.
Like that's the only difference between a God-fearer like Cornelius. They didn't go the full way with getting cut with circumcision, but proselytes was full Israelites.
Thank you.
That's how original Israelites did it. I don't know what y'all doing in One West. I don't know what y'all cherrying. I don't know what y'all doing right now, but I'm talking about back in the days. That's what they did back in the days. Ezra and everybody did witness with that back in the days. We follows the Israelites. We don't follow One West doctrine. We don't follow what y'all teaching, but we following the Israelites. If Paul and them is saying that if Peter went into the crib in Cornelius' house and looked at him in one way, if they looked at Rahab and them one way, we gonna look at them one way. I ask you now, when we go to Mount Sinai, when we go to Israel in the mixed multitude, who was the law given to?
The law was given to Israel.
And only bloodline could had to follow, and the mixed multitude could run amok, or were they one people?
No, the mixed multitude was dead before the law was even given to them. If you read the context, the mixed multitude was already dead.
The mixed multitude was dead because I forgot. The mixed multitude was dead.
The mixed multitude was
the ones had them worshiping Hathor when Moses went up into the mountain and came down.
Not all.
Hey, hold on.
That's what you're trying to tell me? That's what you're saying?
Why does that sound like Rabbi Ribba? Could I slow this down? Is anybody The shoot. Anybody there? This
Who
don't
did
sound
it
like Rabbi
sound like?
Lewis. Rabbi Lewis. We call him Rabbi Ribot.
Oh.
Nah, that don't sound like Rabbi Lewis.
It doesn't. It sounds like him to me. All right, I'm sorry.
No, unfortunately, I've had to talk to him too many times. That like his voice is very distinct. I would definitely know if it was him.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. The mix.
Hey, but real quick, shout out to Elder Mike for like upholding the you know what I'm saying, the Israelite law for Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's very interesting hearing him and him and Brandon just hold down like the Israelite law for Israelites. That's some funny stuff.
Yeah, he went to an interesting verse. I wouldn't have went to that one. I would have actually went to the book of Esther, like I did in what I was going to do for my debate, because it clearly says the people of the land became Jews. You know,
If you know Mike, you know why he did that. There's going to be another place he jumped.
because I know he's more New Testament only type. Yeah.
Yeah, but he would dovetail this one into a whole other verse that like even if you tried to do some Israelite type or the anything that would remotely sound like Judaizing to him or remotely sound like he would have to adhere to a law of some sort, he would jump from here to a whole other verse. But I see why he used this one, but it's just interesting hearing him make this argument to an Israelite or someone making that argument. Like typically he never would make this argument with them, right? He would go a whole nother route, but I actually appreciate it. Like I appreciate the nuance because he normally, like I said, he normally wouldn't make this kind of argument, and then acknowledges like so. He's acknowledging why like Paul would have like Timothy circumcised something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so like I appreciate that concept.
You saying that you were supposed to have a debate? You're not talking about with Bruce, are you?
No, I'm talking about with Dialects.
Gotcha.
Oh, I was just thinking about you debating Bruce, bro.
Bruce cannot stay on topic, and Bruce ain't gonna debate nobody for real.
Oh no,
that wouldn't even be a debate. That'd just be a dog walking.
I think that'd be a crime, bro. that might be assault, bro.
Hey, listen to this, y'all. Listen to this real quick.
Again, what does that have to do with
your name is Biblical DNA.
That has nothing to do with it.
Okay, you're asking me questions, so now I'm asking you a question, right? Now I'm asking you a question. Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no? Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible, sir? Yes or no?
I was muted. Do this, Gorilla.
Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no?
Corey, so disrespectful.
Biblical DNA. This is me. All right.
That's so.
Danny Boy on his back. Danny Boy on his lawn.
Sometimes it's just nationality that gives you a little,
You heard what he said? Nationality that makes him like that pretty much. That's what they were saying in this God First Gang group, right?
Over other nationalities. Sometimes it's just that. But what I'm saying is there's a polite discussion that's happening. Now you asked him many questions and he answered them. He only asked you the one question, and I think it's just a fair question. So, I mean, if you wanted to continue the dialogue, you could have continued the dialogue with Elazar. Or if you wanted to continue to scoff, I would have just left you in the chat. It's not really that deep, so you can scoff in the chat. The God First Gang in the chat, they're fierce. So
that's so for real. So real.
Corey,
so let's see if we can bring them back up. Yeah, it's light discussion. But I just got one question for him. Yeah, he's got a million questions for me. I got one question for you.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Biblical DNA. I have a question for you. Either you're going to answer my question or you can go. That's it. I understand you're looking for an out. Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no? Do you? Is he here?
That's a trap question because if you say yes, then you can't talk about DNA. That's what he's going to say. He said, the Bible is only 6,000 years. The earth is only 6,000 years old. So how can you talk about DNA? Anyway, let me go before this. Hold on. where he says that he lied about the haplogroup R.
How can I subscribe to that? His degree is in Near Eastern linguists. So if you want to just concede that he's a source an area or field of study, that is not where they have their degree. It's crazy. Like, this world we live in is so fake. You know, it's an infamous quote that me, Deacon, and Yatab have, and it's I hate this world. There's so much falsehood. It's just so much falsehood here. To think that a degree equates, I mean, it's so rudimentary to believe. That's just like the idea that a grown-up is right simply because they're older than you. Right. Well, he's older than me, so he has to be right. What? No. How do we know if somebody's right? If they prove it. That's like saying, because I'm the chief priest, if you're a soldier in Sakari, I can slap you in the face at my leisure for no reason. Well, I'm the chief, bro. So you just got to let me slap you. No, I'm wrong if I just slap you in the face, bro. Give a good goddamn what title I have and what title you have. See, but that's when you function in truth. That's how you function. But if you're them, no. You can get slapped in the face and just have to take it.
No, I agree with that. We got a biblical DNA on the stage. He had a couple of positions he was putting in the chat. What's going on, biblical DNA? How you doing?
Not much. Appreciate it for bringing me up.
No problem. Well, did you have a question or a comment that you wanted to address the chief priest Alazar with?
I'm trying to understand exactly how Aztecs are related to sub-Saharan Africans and their diaspora.
Through their common ancestor Jacob.
And do you still believe that the haplogroups and DNA genetics is
I have never believed in haplogroup science.
So how do you know if you are from somebody's father without haplogroups?
Again, I do not believe in ancient haplogroups. Like, for example, E1B1A is 14,000 years old. I do not believe the planet is 14,000 years old. So how can I subscribe to that?
So you don't believe the planet is 14,000 years old, but there's proof that Native Americans have been here 14,000 years.
What is the proof of that?
Are you not aware of the White Sands, New Mexico?
I'm aware of it, and I'm asking you on purpose. So what is the proof?
Archaeologists and their radio.
Hold on, no. You said what? Hold on. You said what? You said what? You said what? What did you say? Say it again.
The radiocarbon dating. That's
exactly radiocarbon dating. Science. Right? So how could I possibly believe in a science that told you that a beached seal that was dead for 2 weeks was 5,000 years old?
I just gotta make commentary on that because GRLA Hebrew, I know your cronies watches. You guys always go to aquatic life to discount carbon dating, but you know, if anything's saturated in water, it distorts carbon dating. So yes, aquatic life cannot be dated precisely with carbon dating, but life that lives outside of water primarily can. And that's the part they don't tell you. That's why they'll tell you a beach whale, a seal, that died 2 weeks ago was given a date of 50,000 years. They always go to aquatic life or something that's submerged in water to make those arguments. You got to watch these pseudos.
There was.
You had comments more?
I was gonna say you just believe that white man science, bro. That's all.
Far too great of a margin of error, and it is predicated upon a false assumption of the amount of carbon that was in the world from its beginning to now and the rate of carbon decay. No, I cannot possibly believe in that. No.
Then you don't believe what you are, what your father is, because you can't prove Aztecs.
No, sir. You can't tell me what I do believe you are what your father is. I don't believe that there is a haplogroup that can test and track somebody back 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 4,000 years. I certainly believe I can go to a laboratory and find out who my dad is. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about ancient DNA, and that's what I disagree with.
you realize that Bedouins, Samaritans, Yemenites, they all carry Natufian DNA, which is the DNA of the Neolithic Levantine population, correct? So how are they able to do that?
Sir, your name is biblical DNA. Do you believe in the Bible?
What is that? No, what does that have to do?
He punch drunk. He hit him with that Natufian DNA argument, and then GRLA Hebrew was like, "Do you believe in the Bible?" We're trying to shift him away from it.
No. I want to ask you a question. Do you believe it, sir? Do you believe? Do you believe in the Bible? Listen. I could care less about your question. Do you believe in the Bible?
Exactly, because you're a
do
coward.
You? No, I'm not biblical DNA. I'm not a coward, sir. Sir. I didn't say the white man science. I never said the white man science. I said science. I said. Okay. Did I say it right now?
No, you said it when you went against Brother Garfield.
Biblical DNA. Do you believe in the Bible?
Again, what does that have to do with my?
Your name is biblical DNA.
That has nothing to do with it.
Okay, you're asking me questions. So now I'm asking you a question, right? Now I'm asking you a question. Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no? Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible, sir? Yes or no?
I was muted. Do this, Gorilla.
Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no?
Biblical DNA. This is me.
That's so.
I'll drop you down. There's no problem. Maybe sometimes it's just nationality that gives you a little, over other nationalities. Sometimes it's just that. But what I'm saying is there's a polite discussion that's happening. Now you asked him many questions and he answered them. He only asked you the one question, and I think it's just a fair question. So, I mean, if you wanted to continue dialogue, you could have continued to dialogue with Elazar. Or if you wanted to continue to scoff, I would have just left you in the chat. It's not really that deep, so you can scoff in the chat. The God First gang in the chat, they're fierce.
Hey, so, can you pause it up right quick?
Want to come up?
So, yeah, we believe in the Bible, which is why we believe in tracing the genealogy of one's father. It's that simple.
It's so funny because he's like, I know I can go to a laboratory and confirm, that my son is my son.
That would be the argument or the argumentation or what you're bringing up right now. That would be what I would pull up. You went right to where I would have went to. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, how do they do that?
Yeah.
DNA. I don't believe in DNA, but you just said, "Oh my God."
So no, he makes the argument. I believe in paternity tests. I just don't believe in ancient DNA with that, right? Like, so here's the issue. I was like, you never cite any genetic argument as to why haplogroups cannot go back, like you said, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. You've never done it, bro.
Yeah, but
you can say you believe. And here's the cold part: he's making the same mistake that the Tail Twins make, right? So you're a young Earth creationist and don't understand that there's young Earth creationists that literally try to work this stuff into their models and whatnot. They literally work the mutation rates into the young Earth model and whatnot, fam.
Yep.
I want to make it clear though, we're not promoting Danny Boy's or biblical DNA's stance, because we know him personally. We've dealt with him. He's a racist, but I'm gonna let this go ahead. I'm gonna fall back.
And for the record, it always gets serious when you say the two of you.
Anyway.
Ask your questions up here. We would have brought you up. So let's see if we can bring them back up.
Yeah.
It's light discussion.
But I just got one question for him.
Yeah.
He's got a million questions for me. I got one question for you.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Biblical DNA. I have a question for you. Either you're going to answer my question or you can go. That's it. I understand you're looking for an out. Do you believe in the Bible? Yes or no? Do you? Is he here?
Biblical DNA. You're muted.
Yeah,
you probably didn't know.
Read my about me.
No, I'm not reading anything. I'm asking you a question. You asked me several questions. I'm asking you one question.
It's going on YouTube.
It's already on YouTube. I have 500 live viewers. Trust me, I'm going to get more views than you. Here's what I'm telling you, Biblical DNA.
Yeah, you're a coward.
No, I'm a coward, but you won't answer my question. Do you believe in the Bible?
I said read my about me.
I'm not reading anything. I'm not reading anything. I'm asking you a question as a man.
You can't cite anything. You're not college educated. You proved that. You're a high school dropout, right?
Biblical DNA. I went to college, though. That's what you don't know. I did go to college.
What did you learn? You don't believe in the white man's science, right? You don't believe in that.
Oh my God, man! This is a great. What does the word genetic mean?
You tell me. You don't.
No. So look, here's what's so incredible, right? I can ask this white boy multiple questions. He's not going to answer anything, but he's entitled.
R&B white boy, don't tell me I'm right.
Hold on. Now let me.
Somebody clip that, man. He's like, you the one that white boy. You the one with R1B. Don't tell me I'm white.
Let me ask him a third. Let me ask him a third question. Let's see if he answers. Was my haplogroup ever tested?
Yes, you did 23andMe, correct?
No. Now, if you read my 23, hold on, sir. Can I talk?
No, because you didn't let me talk.
All right, drop this devil. Drop this devil. See, you're a child and you don't know how to act. So let's walk it back. Number one, my haplogroup has never been tested. It was estimated, predicated upon the autosomal DNA that are.
So first he makes the claim that his white haplogroup has never been tested.
Wait, what?
It was estimated on the autosomal markers, is what he says. It was never tested.
So this is why you want to review that Garfield debate.
Ooh, boy! You got it, my G.
Y'all want me to clip it up or what?
Look, listen to the rest of this. Listen to it. Sorry, do your magic, but listen to the rest of this.
It was tested on my uncle. It was never actually tested. If you guys actually read see, here's the problem. These people just believe things. If you actually read the fine print on the test, your Y is not tested. So my Y has never been tested. Moreover,
He said his Y has never been tested because if you read the fine print on 23andMe, it tells you that it uses autosomal markers. I'm pretty sure he's misinterpreting that. 23andMe.
Oh, I'm more than pretty sure he's misinterpreting.
Pretty sure that's solid.
We know for a fact he's misinterpreting that, bro.
Yeah.
I was being nice, but okay.
No, don't do that.
No, yeah, don't do that.
It's solid. They test for the Y.
Yeah, they give you a
the
Y.
X,
And the X, bro.
the X and autosomal. And the autosomal.
Oh, man.
They making it too easy for us, bro.
showed anybody the test in order for you to know what it is. I just said something to contradict what Garfield said in the midst of the debate.
Did y'all hear that?
Now you're straight lying. Now you're straight lying.
What's bad about
Goes
this
against
is
scripture.
you are
But they got that doctrine. Their doctrine says they can lie to a non-Israelite. Yeah.
Oh. Wait,
that's their doctrine 100%. But wait a minute, Alzar, you lied to all the Israelites listening, though, Alzar. You lied to all the Israelites listening to you debate Garfield, bro.
Yeah, so was he lying then, or is he lying now, or when is
my G? I can't believe nothing you say now, bro. You the boy who cried wolf, bro.
Why is this
over R1?
more familiar? Why is this sounding more and more familiar? We've dealt with other Israelites that do this. Not on DNA, but just lie.
Son, that means that DNA breakdown that he gave, saying my family started in the Sudan. And then that was all a lie too, because he's saying that that's not really him. That's not his results. He's also saying that that's his uncle's results.
But if that's his uncle's results on his father's side, then he still are.
We don't know. We don't know if it's a maternal uncle. We don't know if it's somebody he just called out. We don't know.
No, you're giving them too much rope. You're giving them too much rope. We know what it is. You should be giving them too much rope. We know what it is. We know
lying.
he's lying.
Seems to me that he got slammed after he revealed his real credentials or his real test results. And
twice. And
right,
then we're on his lawn. We're on his lawn.
right.
He won't
And
mention our name, but we're on his lawn regularly, and so he has to, it's the evidence is too hard for him, so he has to push back, and the only way he could push back now, because he tried to push back before, with scripture and trying to deflect from the situation. The only way he can avoid it now is to lie.
right. So now that he's been, criticized and say, "Hey, man, look, you're a white dude," and so now he's like, "Well, see, I was just playing." Y'all, I was just playing. It ain't really me, That's my uncle Jolien or somebody, So that's
See,
funny.
that's what I'm saying, right? If you finna tell a lie, why are you gonna tell a lie for R1, bro?
Oh my!
Like, why? Like, what's the benefit of that? If you're gonna lie, at least say you're E1B1A, fam. Because then that at least makes your argument coherent when you say you got to be part the majority haplogroup. If you're gonna lie, at least tell the good lie, fam.
But he a whole white man, according to his DNA results that he put up going against this, and them folk got the nerve to blow at them Jews over there. Unbelievable.
I think that right there sums it up.
Unbelievable.
This guy.
Oh,
it gets worse, y'all. Hold on.
Tested. If you guys actually read here's the problem. These people just believe things. If you actually read the fine print on the test, your Y is not tested. So my Y has never been tested. Moreover, I never showed anybody the test in order for you to know what it is. I just said something to contradict what Garfield said in the midst of the debate. So what's hilarious is how many of you clout chasing idiots have went and tried to make countless YouTube videos off of something that you don't even know is true.
You know who's the
All right, so hold on. Let me say something real quick. So even if you're not lying now and you're telling the truth, which means that you lied to win the debate with Garfield. So at some point you lied about this. And to be honest with you, I really believe that you're R1, A or B. We already know your
He's
mother's
a
European.
whole R1A, bro.
Right. And we know your mother's European. All right. So it's either you lying, either way you're a liar. You lied, either you're saying that you lied to win the debate with Garfield, or you're lying now about, well, we know you're lying about what 23andMe does. That's a fact. You're straight lying about that. We know what that is. You're a liar.
Hey, the
Either
cold
way,
part
you're
is,
a liar.
yeah, and the cold part is we're idiots because we don't know which time he was lying. We're idiots because we can't discern which time he was lying.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Well, I know he lying right now. I'm trying to discern whether or not he lied that time too. You know what I'm saying? This lie is more bold-faced than the other lie. The lie the so-called lie you told.
What honor, brother? What honor is there in admitting or saying that you lied in a debate just to win a debate? You should never be allowed to. You should never be invited to debate nobody. If you're going to sit here and say, "Well, I was just lying so I could win a debate," dude, we
Hey,
can't
blow that up just a little bit, Ebri.
Yeah, so I got queued up right here just to explain even more reasons why he's lying. If you just go to the 23andMe website, it literally says right here.
Little bit more. They can't. That's gonna be too small.
I just want to show the logo right here.
Hold up, brother. Hold up, brother. You're lying because he said the fine print. This is not the fine print.
Go to the bottom of the page.
Hey, the copyright emblem is blocking this, you guys, on YouTube.
Well, it is.
I took it off.
You must got a delay, bro.
Yeah, because I took it off.
So it says right here, the 23andMe haplogroup reports can shed light on the origins of some of your ancestors and their migrations over tens of thousands of years.
Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe in the Bible?
Yes, I do.
So how can you believe in DNA test?
Well, if you believe in the Bible, brother, you should have bad knees right now.
Right.
I'll get bad knees when I turn 50.
It's always a false dichotomy with these guys. They always create false dichotomies. Either or, either or, either or. You either follow the Bible or follow DNA. That's a false dichotomy, by the way.
Hey, y'all gonna turn me into a younger creationist just to give you the arguments back, bro. Like this is gonna be some funny, like real talk.
We will welcome that more.
No,
But
I'm
like,
saying
like two things.
I'm not really be one. I'm just saying, like I'm
it's
gonna,
like
I'm actually bringing their arguments to them because, like, they actually have, you know, what I'm saying, like the Standing for Truth team. When they got a list of arguments for the younger stuff that would debunk what they're saying, right?
Yeah, but it's like two things can't be true at the same time.
No, but what I'm saying is like so.
No, not you, bro. I'm saying, you know, his argument. Like I'm saying, like it's like two things can't be true at the same time.
I agree.
You know,
I what you're saying.
DNA and Bible can't you know be true at the same time. You know, like you can't mesh the two together and parse out information. Or archaeology, like even if let's say we go to archaeology and scripture, or if we go to culture and scripture, like two things can't be true at the same time. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to separate. It just stinks.
Yeah, it's called the false dichotomy.
Sorry.
It's called the false dichotomy, right?
Yeah, it stinks of Teo. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring them up because this is not about them, but the same thing.
I feel like when I say Bruce, you might cuss, bro.
It is funny hearing y'all try not to cuss because I can tell y'all wanted to do it. y'all fighting back, especially Jashu.
Hey, on hour 7 too, my G.
I can hear y'all saying "dang" and stuff like that. I'm like, I know what they mean.
Y'all see why I'm quiet.
So
hey,
basically,
y'all need to practice. It's okay. It's okay.
Avery, so basically what you got on the screen is a refutation.
Hey, Maji, hit the hyperlink for your paternal line.
All right. So,
or are you done reading what you're gonna read?
Yeah, that's it. It just shows a chart though. It says fathers pass their Y DNA chromosome to their sons.
No, I'm with it. Let's read the fine print.
Oh wait, my bad. I thought this whole time you could see that. Here it is. I had to push the next tab. My bad.
Oh, it came up. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, is that showing lineal descent?
Yes.
With the haplogroup?
Yes.
What? Hold on. What? I'm gonna read. Hold on. My English is a little bit. So hold on. I'm gonna go real slow. Fathers pass their Y chromosome down to their sons.
Yes. So Salazar Slytherin, you got your Y chromosome from your father, and he got it from your grandfather, and he got it from his great grandfather, all the way to your archfather, right? Your archfather is the first male in your line to develop your Y chromosome. That's exactly what that shows you. So you trying to, that's why I keep saying this. That's just like saying oxygen is not real, water is not real. That's just like
Jashu, he calls himself. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I gotta say this. He calls himself a Bible man. I'm pretty sure he believes that two genders exist in this world, male and female. Can you read this for me? What is a Y chromosome?
The Y chromosome likely contains 70 to 200 genes that provide instructions for making proteins. Because only males have the Y chromosome, the genes on this chromosome tend to be involved in male sex determination and development. Yeah.
So that means if GRLA Hebrew doesn't believe in haplogroups and DNA, then he's basically saying we're all non-binary.
Yeah. Remember, we called Teo the non-binary Israelites because they go off autosomal. They don't go off.
Non-binary. Oh well, you know.
We mopping the floor with all pseudos.
Alice, I can't get over. We're idiots because we can't tell which time you were lying. Oh my!
I was about to say.
I'll never get over. Between that and bad knees, I don't know which one I'll never be able to get over the most.
I was about to correct myself and say, not pseudos. This is past pseudoism. This is straight liars.
This is charlatanism. Yeah.
Yes, straight snake oil salesmen.
Straight up and down, fam.
It's a pattern. It's a pattern because look at it. Every time something explodes in his face, you know, the DNA explodes in his face. I don't believe in DNA. Archaeology explodes in his face. I don't believe in that. Like he just dismisses anything that can discredit his argument. That's all he does.
So how can you believe the Bible? How how do you know it's just not a book that wasn't written yesterday, fam?
And calling out people for not believing in the Bible or questioning people whether or not they believe.
Yeah, if you believe in science and DNA, you don't believe in the Bible, even though science and DNA is telling you that sexes exist, which the Bible also says, male and female.
It literally says the seed of the man and the seed of the woman. Which
listen, man.
As a matter of fact, some of the very first scientists and geneticists were Bible believers. So it's like, you know, kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah, we're here to reset all this nonsense. Y'all need, gang. We're gonna reset all of this slowly but surely. We're gonna reset. We're gonna reset the Israelite paradigm.
Carbon dating is false because it goes against his narrative, his doctrine. Everything's false. Everything's false that may contradict his doctrine, bro. So that's the pattern I see with this guy. He saw his DNA results. It didn't work in his. At first, he was okay with it because he thought it worked to his benefit. Because he was like, "Oh, it's in Sudan. It's in West Africa."
Yeah.
I could see it traveling from the Levant into West Africa. Then he was cool with it. But after it was revealed that he's, you know, most likely the descendant of a Western European. Now, oh no, I actually just threw that out there. I just threw that out there to, confuse my opponent. I just made that up.
He found out he was a Boo's cousin and got hot. Boo kept saying, I'm not your brother. He was like, what?
23andMe doesn't test the Y chromosome. These guys don't read. They just believe. That's what he said about us. We just,
yeah.
we out of all people don't read.
We're not on 100 videos saying, you know what? The best bang for your buck is to go for this one because you get both chromosomes tested and blah, 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 blah. We've never, ever said that one before.
And an autosomal breakdown.
We've
oh, God.
We've never shown our Y-DNA from 23andMe ever before.
We did that right on Genesis 49ers. We all showed ours.
All together, fam, except Ibri because he's haplogroup D.
Yeah,
he's Japanese.
Here, look at this right here. The X and the Y chromosome.
And this is what people understand. The reason why they call it the X and the Y chromosome, because the chromosomes literally look like an X and a Y.
Uh-huh.
The Y chromosome is present in males who have one X and one Y chromosome, while females have two X chromosomes. So sounds like science and DNA is confirming that only two sexes exist, two genders exist, male and female, based on the DNA.
Mr. Black Tastic, go to sleep, Mr. Black Tastic.
Hey, who won the fight, bro?
Go to bed, brother. He said, I think y'all are actually jealous of Gorilla because he got that good hair.
That's crazy too. I lost all my hair, so.
Hey, I was finna say, have you seen Majik's hairline?
I don't know. Moro over here got the quote unquote good hair because of his background.
Hey, Black Tastic, who won the fight?
I just gotta put water on my stuff. You know what I'm saying? I put water on my joint and lay down.
Black Tastic, put the winner of the fight in the chat for me, please.
Oh, it's Dr. Brown. No, I know what you're talking about. I'm playing, but also for the followers of GRLA Hebrew that may be watching, These people are trying to stupefy the community and keep them dumb because now, okay, what does that mean? You get a Y chromosome from your father. What's on that Y chromosome? There's information within the Y chromosome. That's what DNA is. It's pretty much information. And this information can be sequenced and read. And we can see what parts of DNA do you share with other populations. And if you share segments of DNA with other populations, that means you share a common ancestor, a common male ancestor. So we know if you're R1B or R1, you share a common male ancestor with 60% of the Western European male population. And I know you understand this. That's why you dismiss it. You said in the debate, if they're all from Jacob, they should all have the same haplogroup. So I know you have a working understanding of DNA.
100%. Just like Teo. Understands the DNA, but lying to the people on purpose.
That's the Nakashim doctrine right there. Y'all trying to enchant the people, fam. Y'all trying to enchant the people, make merchandise for the people.
He a whole white man, according to his DNA results that he put up going against this, and them folk got the nerve to blow at them Jews over there. Unbelievable.
Hey, JT Mac, what do you make of all of this, brother?
I just say it's interesting, and I agree with Berean.
I mean, really, what do you? I know I know you're serious right now, but what do you think about what we just I guess uncovered with GRLA and his new argument for his haplogroup and what you've heard from us so far concerning X and Y chromosomes? I don't want you to get technical, but just tell me from your understanding what you're seeing.
Right. Well, just from looking and he's he said he's lying or he lied, but either he doesn't I mean, I agree. Either he doesn't really understand this stuff or he's lying. Now, I'm not going to even pretend like I study these things. So, I find them fascinating. I listen to you guys and I listen to, anyone that, decides to discuss, genetics and discuss DNA and haplogroups and migrations and all those things. But I just came out wrap my mind around a guy just admitting that he would lie in a debate, and it's just bothering me. Right?
I hear you, bro.
I wouldn't want to listen to you debate nobody else. How do we know he wasn't lying to Dr. Michael Brown?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's the boy who cried wolf now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you talking, bro. I'm just, I just want to see, what you're making of all of this because you got silent for a minute. So I'm like, all right, what is JT back thinking about all of this that just transpired? What was just revealed?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of multitasking, some other stuff going on over here, but I was trying to watch it at the same time. But yeah, I just I'm just amazed, man, and I don't know about that. People like that. It's the first time I've seen someone that reveal their test results and then come back and say they lied about revealing their test results. That doesn't.
You are not the father.
All right, bro. I ain't mean to put you on the spot.
You know what's cold about it, fam? Is like, so there's a lot of Israelites in the game who are not part of One West, you know what I'm saying, who are pulling for Alizar to come around one day. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like cats literally praying for Alizar to make a turnaround and then lead his people into a whole nother direction and whatnot, right? At this juncture, I'm like, nah, homie. No, it's this the line in the sand, fam. Like you're legit like willfully making merchandise for the people, fam. Nah, no. We're on opposite sides of the wall, fam.
Yeah, and one other thing too, I really do, because of all the talk. I'm kind of curious as what my DNA test results will reveal, but I'm always leery of things like that because I know that some of these companies just are voluntarily, how do I say this? Voluntarily share your results with government agencies and whatnot. And I'm just not down. I'm not cool with that. So
23andMe doesn't. Family
Yeah.
does. 23 doesn't sell your information.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's
But I
and you
get
guys-
the paranoia.
yeah.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? If you're not comfortable with it, and you don't want to do it, that's cool. But it's intriguing to find out. And regardless to what haplogroup you belong to, uh, on your X chromosome or your Y chromosome, um, it doesn't like you know what I'm saying it's okay.
Well, yeah, yeah. That's not, I'm not afraid to find out what I am. So yeah, in case anybody may be thinking that, but yeah, and you guys' opinion is 23andMe more reliable, or because I've heard different opinions about different, different companies.
23andMe will give you both your paternal line and your maternal line, which is your Y and your X chromosome, and it will give you your autosomal breakdown. So it's a good company to start with. And then you could take that kit. You don't necessarily have to pay for like doing it depends on which company you're going to go to next. You can usually take your kit that you already paid for with 23andMe and drop it into like GEDmatch or drop it into other calculators, and it's usually free on $9 or you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Some companies, the reason why we like 23andMe is because some companies that do your DNA, give you your X and your Y, but then you can't share your kit with other calculators or other companies.
On top of that, so like in terms of Y DNA, your haplogroups or whatnot, and you get more specific the higher you go in what they call an STR count, like a short tandem repeat count or whatnot, right? And so 23andMe hasn't said what level of short tandem repeats they use, but from what I've been able to see and compare and contrast and whatnot with people's results and whatnot, they have the highest bang for your buck in terms of like how many short tandem repeats they give you for the basic test and whatnot. I've had people like that test with 23andMe and whatnot that have like very specific subclades of E1B1B, but when they go to like family tree and take like the 6th STR count or the 12th STR count, they're just stuck at like at EM35. Like they'll go from like EM2, they'll just have like EM215 then like EM35 or whatnot, right? Which is very high up on the E1B1B list or whatnot, right? Like it's not that specific or whatnot. So if you really want to get technical with your Y-DNA or your X chromosome, they're gonna have like the highest STR count for the when in terms of bang for your buck and whatnot. They'll get the most specific for the cheapest that I've been able to find at least.
Yeah, outside of FTDNA, because we both did me and Yeshua did the big Y.
Yeah,
I
but
think
you got to
that's
pay for the node for the big Y. That's what I'm saying.
right. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I was explaining a little earlier. Like certain companies, if you want to really go really deep outside of like the companies that will allow you to drop your kit in it, FTDNA is good, but you have to pay for that. Like the big Y 700. Yeah. So we did do that, and we revealed it on Genesis 49 as we both did. Showed our big Y STR
Yeah,
count.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and because I may be probably the oldest guy in here. I was a kid in the '70s, so my
How old are
parents.
you, bro?
I'll be 55 this year.
Okay, so you're younger than me.
Okay, cool. So then you probably was in the same boat. Your mom, dad, or grandmom, whoever made you sit down and watch Roots, right?
Yes, sir.
And not all of us have the luxury of being able to trace our lineage through what they call that word of mouth through the generations of our ancestors passing down.
Oral tradition. Yeah.
Oral tradition. That's what I was looking for. So Alex Haley's family had the oral tradition from Kuta Kinte on down, So that's why he was able to trace his lineage back to I can't remember who his people were, but we don't all have that luxury. So some of us have to depend on science to help us out.
Right. And that's why, what I'm saying, because orally I could, you know, and to be honest with you, orally, what I was told about my family, growing up in the 70s and older aunts and uncles telling me about, or older cousins, telling me about our family history. I could tell you we were probably able to go back at least, I want to say 4 to 5 generations, and that's on both sides. And when I did my 23andMe, it actually confirmed it. But that's as far as we was able to go back orally, but it took me back those 4 or 5 generations and some, going way back. So it did confirm the oral traditions or the oral uh, understanding of our history, and then, and going back even further. So sometimes this will confirm some people don't have it, some people do, at least down to your great grandmother, you might know, you understand what I'm saying? And it just filled in all the rest after that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody else brought up an interesting point in the debate earlier. I mean, not debate, but discussion. I can't remember if it was on you guys' first broadcast today or Bereans, but um, when they were going on about um, the fathers, coming from the father's lineage, your father, your grandfather, his great grandfather, great great grandfather, and the guy, and somebody in the chat said, "Well, if it's only by the father, then Jesus is not an Israelite." Boy, I laughed. I busted out laughing because, hey, Jesus is linked to Israel is through his mother, So, but
Right.
if his
And
mother
and
doesn't if his mother doesn't count, then he's not an Israelite.
yeah, and Evie has a very good Evie, when you was talking about I think that was on Bereans when you did that, right? When you was discussing the seed of the father, I mean the seed of the woman with Yeshua. You there?
Uh, yeah, keep going.
When you were speaking about the seed of the woman with Yeshua, when we was discussing on Berean channel about why DNA, and I can't remember the whole context of the discussion. You was breaking it down to dunamis, and you were saying that it's very interesting because uh, the Messiah wouldn't have
Oh, going with the
a
virgin birth
Y
concept,
chromosome,
right?
right, with the virgin birth concept.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you should just give brother um, excuse me.
You just call me Jay. Hey,
All right.
wait, was that day you were talking about in Genesis when it was prophesying about the woman bruising the?
The seed of the woman, yeah.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
good.
basically, I think the concept of the virgin birth is interesting, especially if you apply it to DNA, because essentially, uh, he, Jesus or Yeshua would be coming from his mom, and we know that it's recorded in the scriptures the genealogy from Eve to Jesus' mom. And we know that in the scriptures there's a verse that talks about the seed of the woman will crush the head of the serpent. And it's interesting because that's literally what Jesus would be, coming from the seed of the woman. And it's also interesting because in terms of the first Adam and the second Adam, the first Adam didn't have a father. Likewise, when it comes to Jesus, he also doesn't have like an earthly father. So Jesus, the second Adam being Jesus, would be very similar in that sense to the first Adam, because the first Adam, in my opinion, likely wouldn't have had an mtDNA. He would have, basically just probably been a Y-DNA. If we're going off the concept that God created Adam and Eve
And created the
supernaturally
woman
from
from
the
his
earth.
rib, right? And created the woman from his rib, so there wouldn't have been a woman to birth him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I have a video on that actually.
Sounds kind of spooky, but if if you're going from the Bible concept and you're trying to pin it to science, you would have to go that route with science. Like you couldn't, Adam probably wouldn't have had a X chromosome because there was apparently no woman around. A woman was created from his rib, and then with Yeshua, he probably would have no Y chromosome. Sounds crazy, but if we're going with the biblical narrative, you know.
Yeah, I know I wasn't crazy, and years ago I read Mary. I thought I read Mary's genealogy, and lately I can't even. Last couple of years I can't even find that. Maybe I must be looking in the wrong place, but I could have sworn the scripture lays out Mary's genealogy.
It does.
Yeah, if you could share that.
It lays out both his dad and his mom. Here, I can pull it up.
Yeah, I know it does Joseph, and I'm like, what the heck? I can't find Mary's. I don't. It's just crazy.
You gotta pull it up, Avery.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
People like to say we don't follow scripture.
Right. Well, because you guys don't follow certain traditions of men in scripture, like 6,000 year creation. I don't, I stopped believing that a long time ago because scripture doesn't place a time frame per se on man, and especially when you're talking about the creation of the worlds, the creation of the worlds and the face of the deep and the Spirit of God hovering over the waters. It doesn't give you no time frame for that stuff.
It doesn't, and I guess nothing in scripture says, "Thus saith the Lord." The earth is such and such years old. Thus saith the Lord. They just took the genealogies and they ran. That's Christian Science, and I'm not disrespecting Christian Science. I'm not saying, please, when I say Christian Science, I'm not trying to put down or say that it's false. I'm just saying that how they did it was they took by the genealogies, starting from Adam and trying to add up the years that they may have lived, and they came up with 5,000 years or 6,000 years, not accounting for the 6 days of creation. You know what I'm saying? Or the 7 days of creation, not counting all of that time, not counting anything outside of that.
Right. And every just about almost every heresy of date setting has come from that 6,000.
Right. 6, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But here it is, the maternal ancestry. I can pull up the scriptures, but you go to the book of Luke. That's where it's at if you want to find it. But here's like a chart though that actually shows it. I can pull up another chart, but this is just one. From Mary all the way up to Abraham. But I know it can go back even further than that, because one of them can go all the way back to Adam and Eve.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's showing Mary there. I mean that's his blood mother, and her genealogy goes back through David and goes back through all the way to Abraham. So those guys, the reason it's come up because we get into the debate with some of those guys that come on and try to prove that Mary was not a virgin when she gave birth to Christ, and Joseph had to be the father. And otherwise, if he wasn't the father, then Jesus was not, could not possibly be an Israelite because the mother doesn't count. There's some old weird, crazy arguments, but yeah.
It doesn't make a difference if they say the mother doesn't count. The word from the father, from Abba, from Yah, makes it clear that Yeshua belonged to him. So outside of that, then you would be arguing with, the Most High at that point. Even if you wanted to discredit Mary, because we don't follow the maternal line, because historically, Israel wouldn't have followed the maternal line. He's saying it's my son. The Most High is saying it's his son. So that right there, that trumps everything.
Here it is in Luke chapter 3. Wait, hold on. This might be dealing with Joseph. Hold on. Let me see. It might be dealing with Joseph.
I hate to burst your bubble. They both deal with Joseph. Per use of bees. But anyway, I'm out of here, y'all. Good night, y'all.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow
All right.
suit.
Yeah, it's about that time.
We run about 3.5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to chop this down. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Outro music.
I'll put an outro on, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Everybody giving their summaries, the entire panel. Make sure you share this. Make sure you share the review from earlier. All praises to the Most High, Yeshua HaMashiach. Y'all be blessed this weekend.
Shalom, shalom.